And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is your favorite charity-based podcast filmed in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It's time for A Mile in Your Shoes with your host, Wedge Stevens. Oh, hey, we put around. Hey, we're back. Look at this. Oh, hang on. You applauded for a long time, like 10, 15 seconds. That was amazing. Thank you very much for doing that. I've off-centered the camera. I keep looking over here, and you're over here. I don't know what I'm doing in life anymore. It's been so long. How are you? Are you doing? Have you lost some weight? It's been a few months. You're looking good. Little. Did you pamper yourself a little bit? I've over-pampered myself, and now I've gained so much weight, they can actually fly me over the Super Bowl to film things. That's true. That's true. That is... That's a late night joke right there, if I ever heard one. Oh my goodness. Well, so glad to be back here in front of all of you fine folks yet again. And we get to film again tomorrow. So this is super exciting. We're doing 3 shows in 1 week. What? I know. Been gone for like 2-3 months in a coma, doing whatever. And now we're back doing shows. This is exciting. So if you know anyone who wants to continue our momentum and would like to come talk about their life or your life or whoever's life, let me know. I'll talk to your dog. I don't care. You got a parrot? Ooh, parrot would be fun. Oh boy, what an energizing, exciting day. So today we don't have a charity wheel. I know I failed. I lost the markers, and so I couldn't make the wheels out today. So we have to give prizes away based off of whatever. I'll have to bring the prize cart in front of Leon so he can pick out what he wants, and then we'll have to talk about whatever it is. Are you good with that? Just picking out your own prizes?
I'm good with that.
As opposed to spinning the wheel for it?
I'm good with that.
No, man, our sponsor is going to be like, you failed. We don't have sponsors. But I'm super excited to be here. I'm so glad, and for all of you still watching. And I know I suck at life, and I'm sorry. I will get the stuff sent out to you as soon as I can. Things have been a little mentally and emotionally hectic, so I do apologize. But today I'm very excited to have a wonderful guest who, for the first time ever, we're gonna hide our guest so that you'll actually see the top of his head. So you know I'm just not talking to myself, which, as we discussed in the last episode, happens a lot. But here we are. Oh man, I'm a little rusty. It's a little out of shape in all of this. Oh man. Hey, we're gonna close the show later. A little sad news, and I'm very sad about it. But let's not worry about that. Let's get to the fun and exciting stuff. So my guest today, as I fling around, will have to just hold his hands up because we have the wonderful, talented, and amazing Leon. Give you a round of applause here. Yeah, there you go. Nice wave. Good wave. Hang on. We have to get the prize bin. I wasn't prepared. Oh man. You can even use it as a footstool if you need to. All right. So we have prize bin. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
After not being able to find the location. That was a little hectic morning.
Google Maps.
Google Maps. Sometimes I feel like the Google Maps lies to me just to make me look like a fool.
They got to stay in business somewhere. You got because it's Apple Maps or Google Maps.
Well, Apple Maps, it tastes better.
It does.
Yeah. No.
I mean, I got an iPhone, so.
Do you?
Yeah.
Maybe that was your problem. I have an Android. My Android's never failed me.
Never?
Never.
What about charging?
Charging's fine. What does the Android not charge or something, or?
I don't know. I'm just like an Apple snob. Like, since I remember being like in 8th grade and they were like, get an iPhone 3GS. And I was like, Dad, anything. And he was like, you get $50, you can get yourself a refurbished one. And from then on, iPhone.
Isn't that just good marketing as opposed to actual good product, though?
Yeah, you remember the commercials with like the
Oh,
silhouette
I mean,
people
yeah.
dancing?
That's why I never bought an Apple because I was like, you're like the Empire. Like I'm waiting for Emperor Palpatine to be coming out at me and all that.
Empire did nothing wrong.
Empire did a lot of things wrong.
They
They
did.
killed Yoda. No, they didn't actually
They didn't
kill
kill
Yoda.
Yoda.
They tried to.
That's true. I think Jedi were like the most responsible for all the bad things in Star Wars, if you think about it. Anakin,
All right, well, hang on. That's a controversial opinion. Give me that take. Oh, that's a hot take.
I just feel like you got Anakin, famous Vader,
Okay, Anakin seduced by a woman.
Palpatine.
Palpatine was a Sith Lord, not a Jedi.
Oh yeah, but I think Palpatine definitely made a hand into Anakin's seduction into the dark side.
All right, so you're saying that Anakin was seduced by both a man and a woman?
I wouldn't even say Padme did it.
Yeah, they just fell in love.
Yeah, with
Blech. Love.
I'm all right.
I mean,
with it.
come on. How could you go against the Jedi when, I mean, if Liam Neeson hears you say that, he's going to come kick your ass.
Oh, he died in the first one, so
Yeah, but
spoiler alert.
but he died at the hands of the greatest villain in all of Star Wars history, or could have been, had they known what they were doing.
No, I think you're right about that. I love that scene. It was great. That's one of the first movies I've ever seen, so I just loved it.
Yeah.
But no, I think like if Mace Windu's yelling at me, I love Samuel L. Jackson, but if he's yelling at me and he's for some reason not letting me be a Jedi Master, I'm gonna feel a way about it.
Yeah, I think Mace Windu had a point though. Like, Hayden Christensen was a terrible choice
Whoa.
for Anakin Skywalker.
Oh.
He was so whiny. I don't get my way. I'm just gonna go kill some sand people.
No, he was great. Like I didn't like him in 2, and he wasn't
Or
in
3.
1.
He has
Oh,
terrible his
what's
line
going on?
delivery is awful.
Amazing. Oh,
Awful.
I know the last 30 minutes of that movie off the back of my hands. I could do it for the next 30.
Okay, that
good.
may be, but
So
it doesn't mean
good.
that his line delivery is good.
It's
You
pretty
know
good.
what shocked me about those was how good Ewan McGregor was.
Oh.
I did not when I heard Ewan McGregor was going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, I went, "Oh, are you
He
serious?"
is my favorite.
And then he turned out to be really amazing.
The best.
Yeah, I actually met his uncle. His uncle was in the original Star Wars.
You met his uncle?
Yeah, Dennis Lawson.
What?
He played Wedge Antilles. I have a picture of Wedge and Wedge together. It's true.
Where'd you meet him?
I met him in Nashville. No, sorry, I misspoke. Knoxville, Tennessee, at a Comic-Con. Met him and Carrie Elwes in the same day. Do you know who Carrie Elwes is?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Did you ever see The Princess Bride?
Yeah.
He was the Dread Pirate
Oh,
Roberts.
of course.
He was also Robin Hood and Robin Hood Men in Tights. He's a delightful person.
He's in Psych a lot.
Yeah, he was like, the line for him was like 4 hours long, but he spent like 10 minutes with everyone.
Oh.
So when it was your turn, like you didn't think about the 4 hours you were in line. You're like, oh my God, he's the nicest person in the world.
Like, who's the most famous person that, like, who are the famous people that you met? Like, you're like, I got to put this on a list.
Oh man. All right. So most famous people. Well, okay. What's defined as most famous though?
Like, if you see The Rock, and also, like, you have to, like I saw Barack Obama, but, like,
okay, he's pretty famous.
he's pretty famous, but I'm not going to say I met him. Like,
Okay.
he was far away. And
So
I
you're
saw him
talking
speak.
like people I've actually shook hands with.
Yeah.
That people would know their name.
Or, like, you just saw him, like, in a store. Like, a friend of mine, like, bumped into the lead actor, I know his name, Jeffrey Donovan from Burn Notice.
Oh my God, I love Jeffrey
He's
Donovan.
amazing.
Burn Notice was so underrated.
Amazing.
It was
It's
a
so
great
underrated.
show. And you know the thing about that is I really liked I forget the guy who played Sam. What was his name? Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, yeah.
It was such an interesting role for him and such kind of, and then you see Bruce Campbell, like I saw him show up in all the Spider-Man movies and I was like, oh my God, Bruce Campbell, I love you. But Jeffrey Donovan's great. I love and he's going to be in the new Law and Order.
And Bruce Campbell is rumored to be in the new the new Doctor Strange, because it's directed by Sam Raimi.
All right. Well, I like me some Bruce Campbell.
I
So
do too.
yeah.
You're forgetting his most famous role, of course, Evil Dead.
Yeah. I liked him better in Burn Notice. Not
You don't like
not for.
Evil
I'm not a horror
Dead?
movie fan. I don't like scary movies.
None?
No, I'm autistic, and so it's hard for me to separate what's real and what's not.
Oh,
And so scary movies sometimes get really intense for me, and I have like nightmares for weeks.
yeah, you
So,
don't want to watch them then.
No, I don't watch a lot of scary movies. Yeah.
I don't watch a lot just because the quality isn't quite always there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the appeal of horror movies myself.
It's like a
Like,
thrill ride.
Why do you want to go scare yourself that badly?
It's like a thrill ride.
Yeah, but okay, but until you start to realize that some of this stuff is real, like, haunted houses and things like that. Good ghosts aren't haunting. Not all Casper.
Have you met a ghost?
I have.
You seen a ghost
I've seen it. I live in a haunted house
in Cedar Rapids?
in Vinton.
You've seen a ghost. Yeah, I've been to Vinton. I've been to Vinton.
I'm 90% sure that most of the houses in Vinton are haunted because it's a very creepy town.
Their movie theater, which was a vaudeville theater, haunted for sure.
Yeah, and I love that theater.
I love it too so much.
Funny story about that theater. My grandmother who passed, the last movie I took her to was Paddington 2, right? And we had such a great day at that movie theater, and we watched that movie. And she actually went to go see the first Lord of the Rings with me. I don't know why she wanted to, but she did. So then I went. The last movie I saw at the Vinton Palace Theater was The House of Gucci, and there was like a couple really naughty scenes in that movie, right? And as the scene is happening where Lady Gaga is going down on Adam Driver, I'm thinking, I'm watching Adam Driver get a blowjob in his car in the same theater that I saw my grandmother with Paddington 2. Like, wait a minute, there's something very wrong here.
Good old film. See, that theater's so old. It was in vaudeville days, and I think Buster Keaton's mom is from Iowa, so maybe he performed there.
Well, all right. So do you know that Groucho Marx performed in Ames, Iowa?
No.
Yeah, it was his first stand-up comedy show. It was at Iowa State University. Do
Whoa.
you know how old he was?
No.
80.
What?
Doing his first stand-up comedy show.
I mean, it's Groucho Marx.
It was Groucho Marx.
It's like, I trust that that's going to go well.
I mean, they in the book, Groucho and His Friends by Charlotte Chandler, I believe that's right. She was talking about how they were driving through Ames and the buffets were $1.49 back in the 70s.
A buffet for $1.49.
$1.40. If you heard that today, you'd be like, no.
You can't even get like a small bag of chips for $1.49
Right.
these days.
Right. It's true. Most famous person I've ever met. I don't know how you define that, but I met Kurt Warner.
Whoa.
Wasn't overly impressed. I don't know if he was just having a bad day or what was going on, but I met him.
How tall?
Huh?
How tall was he?
He's massive. He's a big dude compared to me. I mean, I'm big fat wise. Like I'm like
No.
Shrek and Chandler being pushed together, right? He's tall and athletic and whatever. I have met Chris Jericho. I've also met the whole band of Fozzy. So they're all really amazing people. Let's see. We were just talking about the fact that Scott Hall passed away.
Oh.
We're going to talk about that later. But so I've met Sting.
Whoa.
I actually have the coolest thing that I own is an excerpt from the book that I wrote I wrote a thing about him in there, and he signed it for me.
Oh.
So that's what framed it on my wall. You said, so who's the most famous person you've met? This is supposed to be about you, and I'm dominating the conversation.
Oh, that's a give and take.
Yeah.
I don't really meet famous people.
All right. So
I've seen Barack Obama in person. Ooh, actually, I denied a hug from Bernie Sanders. I like him, and I liked him.
why did you deny a hug?
It's because my dad has always been a big proponent of handshakes. He was like, I shook the hand of Coretta Scott King. And she, of course, so on and so forth with Martin and JFK and everyone else. So he's like one handshake away from these great people. And I was like, Dad, I'm going to beat you. So when he went in for the hug, I was the second person after he spoke right down the street, like at, I think, Pius. But he was speaking. It was a smaller crowd. And I was the second person, and great photo op too. So he goes in for the he goes in for a hug because he hugged the first person. He comes in for a hug, and I have to deny. I just go, "Hey, how's about a hand?" He definitely gave a look and was like, "Oh, okay, that's weird."
Why didn't you do the bro hug? Like you shake the hand and then you bring him in for the hug.
He just had a heart attack that week, so like I was like, "Great on you for coming out. You could take a sick day too, but thanks for coming to Cedar Rapids."
I mean, he's running for president of the United States. There is no sick days.
I think there should. If you have a heart attack, leave him alone for a little bit. He's like 80 years old.
I mean, I remember when Dick Cheney had a heart attack and he was the vice president, and everyone was all like, well, he should be out of office. He had a heart attack because he's the vice. I'm like, he had a heart attack. It's not like he's like, going on a 3-day bender or something, Come on, give the guy a break.
He's not in NBA finals. Like, Dick Cheney's not doing that. He can just sit down in a chair and still work.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, like, I mean, give the guy a break. Like, it's not like he's going to run a marathon tomorrow. Although I do think that when they say run for office, there should be some legitimate running involved, right? Like,
I think there's running behind the scenes some of the time.
no, I mean, I'm talking like you will be president, you better be able to bench press 250.
So DK Metcalf, LeBron James, and Shaq, they all can be the presidential nominees for the 2024.
Absolutely. Sure. Why not? Except for LeBron. I don't like LeBron.
You don't like LeBron?
No.
Oh, that's crazy. Why not? He's so good.
My list of reasons for hating LeBron are very long.
You hate Akron?
Actually, I do.
You hate Akron, Ohio?
I had a very emotionally traumatic experience in Akron, Ohio.
Oh, he and Steph Curry were born in the same hospital.
Okay. I like Steph Curry.
LeBron, he dunks, he blocks.
He bricks. He's
highest
game on the line, can't really hit the three.
Highest total scorer of all time right now. And he's a really great passer.
It's all inflated.
Stats don't lie.
Okay. If that's the case, then Kobe Bryant is way better than LeBron is.
I love Kobe, but how is he better if he's all-time
If you look at his
scorer?
all-around stats and you average it all out, Kobe Bryant comes out higher than LeBron does.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything bad about Kobe on mic or off mic. I love Kobe.
I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan. I hated Kobe Bryant while he was playing, right? Not because I didn't like him as a person. When he came to town, you knew he was lethal, right? Especially in the fourth quarter, under 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. You did not want Kobe Bryant touching the touching the ball at all, right? And then he makes that pass to Derek Fisher, and you're like, mother effer, what is going on? LeBron had a chance to get themselves into the finals of Game 6 with the Heat and threw up. What was it? Oh, the nastiest brick I've ever seen. If it wasn't for Chris Bosh being there, Spurs win that series and we're out of there.
If we're talking nasty bricks, and I don't want to fuel to this any fire, I like Russell Westbrook, but recently I have seen the worst bricks of all time.
He's running out of steam, man. His career's...
I like him a lot. He's a really great guy, and I feel like he could have, like, if he stayed in OKC, like, he could have really been a legend, One of those, like, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry that stayed there forever.
Right.
That didn't quite plan out, but...
So you have a strong affection for Ohio? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's where I am technically from. Yeah, I was born in Kansas City and moved to Ohio.
Okay, what happened that you were born in Kansas City?
Well, my mom and dad met, and I was
when two people love each other very
much, and it's the 90s, and Friends is not great, but Living Single came first. Then you watch that, and you're like, you know what, I like this guy. But no, my mom and dad, they had us all, and we eventually just moved as a family, found a better job in Ohio, and we kind of we were a new family there. We moved away from our family, had a good time in a different place, different people, but from there I moved to Cedar Rapids, and once again, big different move. But
yeah. Where are your mom and your dad from?
My dad's from Kansas, and my mom was born in Louisiana, but she moved from there to Missouri when she was about 5. So
I like Louisiana better than Missouri.
I've been there.
In Louisiana,
It's hot.
I went for Mardi Gras.
How was it?
It was amazing.
I've been to some parades down there. It's nice. I didn't go through Mardi Gras yet, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's not a place for kids.
It's not a place
I saw a
for
lot
kids.
of kids there, and I was like, man, I don't know about this.
Yeah, it's the South though, so you have to know somewhat what you're expecting when you see it.
People died at the parades. I couldn't believe
Yeah.
that.
Like I've been to parades there, and it gets so busy where you're shoulder to shoulder to someone, you lift your feet like at an angle to like meet your knees to your feet to your back and knees, and you will still stand in place. You're not going to drop just because it's that tight sometimes.
So your mom and dad met in Kansas City.
Yeah.
That's where you were born.
Uh-huh.
You moved to Ohio.
Yeah.
What part of Ohio?
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. I've been there a time or two.
It's nice.
Yeah. In fact, my favorite pizza in the entire world is in Sharonville.
What is it?
Macaulay's Pub.
Okay. I'm not sure
The
if I've
cheese
seen
comes out and it's like a pillow.
that.
It's
Pillow?
a pillow of cheese. If you ever go back, go to Sharonville, go to Macaulay's.
Oh, I'm going to meet you on this because I'm going back in less than a month, so.
When you go, I'll go with you and we'll go to Macaulay's together because it's worth the 8-hour drive for me.
It's not a bad drive, and I'm gonna go. And I don't know about that cheese. Is it like a deep dish sort of thick cheese?
No, they make their
Dishes.
own crust, they make their own sauce, and then they put it all together in this gooey like pizza porn type thing. It is amazing.
Well, what is your favorite crust for a pizza? Thin crust.
It depends on what place we're going to, right?
Mm.
You know, if I'm going to a Chicago style place, I want to have Chicago style pizza.
That makes sense.
You know, the best Chicago style pizza I ever had in my life was at the place I used to work at called Charlie's, who was owned by one of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. And well, yeah, I'll stick with it. She was the nicest person, one of the nicest people I've ever met. We got into a huge fight over the whole pandemic thing.
Asterisk.
So
thing.
we're no longer like talking, but
Oh, we all met a few of those people where we didn't. The pandemic sort of split us a bit.
it did. How did you handle the pandemic?
Horribly.
Horribly.
Who handled the pandemic well? I
did.
want to know.
I did.
You did?
I went and hid in my house and got super fat.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did too. I made all the
It's
wrong
like y'all can
decisions.
hate each other all you want. I'm gonna hide in my little hole.
I didn't contribute to the hate, but it's a weird thing. Like I'm glad that you're recording all of these. You know, like how long have you done this?
First one started. Let's see. I think my first one was August of 2021.
I'm glad
I
you
think.
got like the first. That was still like the thick of like COVID still being.
Well, that was
And-
the whole reason I started it, was because I got tired of everyone just hating each other for stupid reasons. And still to this day, hating each other for stupid reasons. Like, I understand what people are trying to say. At the end of the day, though, why hate someone for a choice they did or did not make? I don't get it. It's not that big. Like, people are like, well, it's matter of life and death and all that. There's a lot of things that are matter of life and death. Texting while driving is a matter of life and death. People still do it. People don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hate you for it. I'm not going to be mad at you. I may disagree with your choice,
Yeah, and
but I'm not
that's-
going to stop being friends with you over it.
That's the, starting into the conversation. It's like your reaction to what people are saying and doing. They can live their lives. It's your choice on what you do with it. So,
Right.
but I don't know if you said how long has it been since the last show of this?
Oh, it's been months.
So
Well,
like,
I did one on me not that long ago, but actually having someone I actually got to interview, it's been a long time, way before Christmas.
a lot's happened in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah?
Yeah, with two countries, Ukraine
And Russia going at it now. And now China's being pulled into it. I just heard that yesterday that Russia has asked China for weapons and money.
Yeah.
And the U.S. is like, don't you do it. And China's like, maybe we will, maybe we won't. Truly, we're on the precipice of World War III.
I very much hope not.
I hope not as well. I hope I'm wrong. But if China gets involved, you know, Iran and North Korea are both going, do it. Do it.
So like about 80 years ago, my math's probably a bit off on that. I'll say closer to, it could be. I'm not sure yet. I think about 80 years ago, World War II was sort of warming up, and you're like, okay, well, I bet two people sat down in chairs and talked about it over a radio, and now we're doing something similar.
I don't know if
Hopefully-
they did or not, to be honest with you, because
Really?
back then the media wasn't as, first of all, the media wasn't as big. You got to
true.
think about how
That's
things,
true.
how much have changed in just 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, media platforms there's more of them than ever, right? And I'm actually getting ready to make a video about misinformation because, I'll tell you what it is later, but because I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Yeah.
But it's really fascinating how much media has changed and how people get their information these days, and how many options you have to get said media. And honestly, 90% of what American news is just a bunch of hogwash.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want the actual news, listen to German news. Listen to news about us.
BBC, Al Jazeera, like these are public. Like I grew up being told this from like he was a conspiracy head, but it was like back in 2010, and he was like Tony Blair and all of these people over there. So like I got like a third of UK news, and then for the United States. So most of the rest of the news was us.
Okay.
But you have to like vet your sources. Like I'm not gonna mention any particular news sites, but we know less than honest ones.
I think they're all less than honest. I don't think there's none of them that I trust.
I'll watch NBC and ABC.
Mm-mm.
I'll watch CNN.
Mm-mm. Even ESPN, the sports thing has gotten so
Yeah,
it's like I can't listen to ESPN radio anymore because they drive home the same narratives, and it's like the bad part about that though is there's no counterpoint. There's no one big enough in the sports realm to say, "Oh, we disagree with what ESPN's doing, so we need to combat." Like it's a monopoly in a lot of ways. Like it's not a true monopoly because you got FS1 and you got other sports outlet, but there's no one who has the kind of grip that ESPN does.
Now that's just a factor of like we're different generations, and like my generation and even the generation under me, they don't really know that ESPN hasn't always been only that.
Right.
Like I'm like, oh, what else was there?
It used to be sports. It used to be when you turned on ESPN at 8:00 at night or whatever, they had a baseball game on. And it wasn't always just the same 5 teams on the East Coast. Sometimes it was the Pirates and the Cubs, or sometimes it was the Angels and the A's, or it was random matchups to kind of encompass the whole sport. As money has become, everyone says money is the root of evil. As money came into it more, everything kind of centralized over into like it comes to baseball and you're watching Sunday Night Baseball, you're getting the Yankees, the Mets, the Phillies, the Nationals, sometimes the Rays, but
And the local
and the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's one of those 6 teams, they'll be on Sunday Night Baseball. And which is why I stopped watching Sunday Night Baseball, because I got tired of seeing those same 6 teams.
We almost didn't have to worry about it this year until 2 days ago.
Yeah, I was trying to fill that gap. I reached out to Milwaukee to try and get Bob Uecker to come on the show and talk about his life.
Oh,
He turned me down. I was very sad.
you can try again.
I don't know, man. I'm like a jaded prom date. Like, I don't know. It's time for you to win a prize, though. You can look through there and pick something out.
Yeah. Can I move the mic?
Absolutely.
Okay. See what we
This is
got
very,
here.
very professional setup I have. I'm going to make sure the camera is still recording. It does turn off by itself sometimes.
Oh, this is nice. I guess I'm gonna go with the thing that drew my eye.
All right. What is that?
Chili.
Ooh, yeah. We have to show that. So this is the Old West Point Chili Company. Old Westport Spice and Trading Company in Goodland, Kansas. Kansas! You can go to Old Westport. Let's try that again. Old OLDE westportspice.com. And you can order these things. They come in, you make boiling water, and it turns it into chili for you, and it's absolutely amazing. I met them at the Iowa State Fair. They were very nice people. So that's your first of 3 prizes. Enjoy.
I love chili. So
There you go. And all you got to do is follow the instructions here on the back. Super easy, or you can try and make your own.
I want to make it like it says, but I know half of me is just going to say, throw it in the meat. You know how to make the chili. Just go ahead.
I would recommend following the directions the first time.
I
Take
want
2
to.
of them.
I will.
Take 2, and then you can do one the way it tells you to, and then one the way that you want to do it, and see which one comes out best.
I feel like if I'm going to use someone else's product, I'm going to make it their way. That's
Okay.
the best way to do it.
Yeah, because they're telling you how they would recommend you use it.
But when it comes to craft, I understand how it works. Craft. I'm going to just throw my own stuff in there.
I don't use Kraft.
Ever? Mm-mm. Oh,
I used to as a kid, but
Yeah.
now it's all Velveeta, man.
I can't do their macaroni and cheese. I can do their rotel. It's super good, but their mac, I can't do the liquid pouch.
You know, the best one I've ever eaten was I think it's called Risers.
Risers.
Quick Star sells it. It's like they have this mac and cheese that's made out of pepper jack.
Oh,
Chop some bratwurst up into that and throw that in there. Now we're talking.
oh, I love a good brat.
Yeah, you ever been to Germany?
No, I
Oh.
want to. I have a passport.
Yeah. Have you traveled outside the country?
I have not,
So why do you have a passport then?
because
Because you're planning on running away when World War III breaks out, going to Canada, are
I
you?
think it's gonna break out over there. I'm not sure I would like to run away to there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd go to Canada. The people in Canada are very nice.
It's not a haven though.
There's a lot of Scottish people in Canada. That's all I need to know.
I got a little Scottish in me. So
Do you
that's
really?
good. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Or-
So since you brought it up, what is your ethnic background then? Since you said you're part Scottish,
Well-
what else do you know that you have?
I think they say European.
European.
We've got some European. Native American,
Okay.
black.
Do you know what tribe?
I don't.
All right.
I'm sure many people in my family do.
All right.
And I'm feeling bad right now if they listen
Why?
to
No,
this.
it's fine. It's fine. I'm just curious.
They're like, you should know where you're from.
No. I just, when people say they're Native American, I have 2 parts Native American in me. My great grandma Crow was Blackfoot, and then my grandfather on my dad's side, who I never got to meet, and I don't know his name, but I know he came off of the reservation from Durant. So, but obviously the Scottish dominated my genes because I'm pale white.
Oh, there's just so many mixes. I mean, I just got a nephew and he's mixed, half black, half white, and Italian. And he just looks like an Italian baby. He looks perfect. He's an Italian, but he's half black, you know?
It's funny how genetics works.
It is.
Yeah.
But that's the good thing about it, you know, it's all a mix.
Well, everyone's unique. And that was the whole point of all of this, is that everyone matters. Like every person's story matters to what we as a human collective is.
Mm-hmm.
You contribute some way, shape, or form, whether it's positive or negative, you still contribute.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing about this conversation, you know? It's just nice to talk to people, and we may look different, we may do different things, but at the end of the day, we're all the same person.
I mean, we've already disagreed and we still like each other.
I don't know.
You don't know if you like,
of course.
oh, I presumptively assumed. See what happened? I assumed I made an ass out of me and me.
I'm a LeBron fan too, though.
You're a what? LeBron fan?
You gotta love
All
him.
right. So, yeah, no, LeBron, I can't do it.
Oh, that's so
Do you know-
confusing.
Yeah, I have a whole theory of why Space Jam 2 bombed.
It was a bad movie.
Yeah, okay. But so are you a big movie person?
Yeah, huge movie.
All right. So they made a fatal mistake right off the bat. Go back and in your mind, visualize the first time you see LeBron James in that movie. Does he come across as a hero or a villain?
Hero. No?
He's a villain right off the bat.
How so?
What is he doing? He's scolding his son for,
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like the first time you see him, he's standing there all hulked up, ball in his hand. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, no, wait. If you go back and watch the first Space Jam, Michael Jordan's the hero, not because of any, he's, first of all, they have like a cool montage about him, right?
Oh,
but then
yeah.
they show him at a low point in his life, like baseball, struggling, trying to do whatever. And he doesn't want to play basketball, but he gets pulled in because Bugs Bunny and them need him to save them, right? In this one, it was LeBron's ego was so inflated around the whole thing. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? You're supposed to be the hero, not the villain.
we should get back to the LeBron thing. Can we just talk about how good of an analogy that Space Jam was, though? With like because at the time, like, wasn't he between retirements? Like when he made that movie?
Yeah.
And then he came back. In the movie, they were addressed that. Like, he comes back to the Bulls at the end of that movie.
All right.
So it's just like, whoa. It's just so cool that, like, a
But
movie can
the
be,
way he comes across, like, he comes across in professional wrestling terminology, he comes across as a face, right?
Yeah.
He's totally like, I don't want to do this, but I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, where LeBron, that movie was just
everything
Throw it
about
away.
that movie was pretty bad. LeBron, if you're hearing this, love you, but
the
you
only
know
thing
Space
I
Jam
liked
was bad.
LeBron in was Trainwreck because it
He
was
was
such
good
a
in that.
weird, like, why is LeBron acting like that? Like, and I love me some Bill Hader. I
Bill's
love Bill
great.
Hader. He broke my heart by dating Anna Kendrick. And I don't know what to do.
Wait, he's dating Anna Kendrick?
That's according to the gossips.
Whoa.
Yeah, Anna Kendrick and him. I think it's Anna Kendrick.
Good on both of you then.
I mean, yeah.
Obviously, they're listening to this and they're like,
Oh, obviously,
thanks,
everyone,
thanks."
every celebrity in the world's hanging on pins and needles hearing this.
Like, Leon, thank me. Okay, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
we can continue dating, Bill.
Yeah,
Thanks, Anna.
there you go. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, so my favorite basketball player was David Robinson.
Oh, I know very little about him besides, he's well liked. I mean, he's
Stand-up guy, came from Naval Academy,
Naval.
fulfilled his obligation to his country while playing basketball. No one has anything bad to say about him. And he kind of helped change the way the position of center got played because he was so athletic. He was one of the first ones that could step back and make the three. And all of a sudden, now you have to start defending these long-range shooting three-point centers.
We love Curry, but what did he do?
I mean, Curry, he's a three-ball machine.
What did he do to the game, though?
Oh, it completely overhauled it.
I know.
That wasn't just Curry, though. That was coming. That, like, as you watch the trend of the NBA, the three-pointer became more and more.
Which I didn't even know that it wasn't always a thing. Like, I knew it wasn't always a thing, but like I thought like in the 60s. But no, I just looked it up. Like, there was a thread on Reddit and it was like Larry Bird was the first to do it in a 3-point contest. Well, in All-Star weekend. And he was the first to win the trophy. And then right after that was when it was implemented.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Like, my dad remembers when the 3-point line was invented.
Yeah.
Throw up a 5-pointer up there, like, or a 4-point line.
Did you play NBA Jam?
Yeah.
Did you ever play the tournament edition where they had the little, like, spots that would show up on the floor, and if you were standing on the spot and you'd shoot it, you'd get that many points?
No.
Oh, play NBA Jam with that mode. Because, like, you get, like, the 10-point spot that shows up out of nowhere and you're just on it and you shoot it. They could totally do that. Just start...
That's the James Harden.
Just every now and then, here comes a little spot, 6-point spot right next to the hoop, and you get over there and you nail it.
What would your 6-point shot be? Like, what, full court?
No, I mean, I'm 5'8" and white, man. When I did play in college, and my job was to defend and shoot the three. That was my job. I was not to drive the lane. I was not to try and do that. I was to pass. If I had the shot, take it. If not, pass and then be a good defender. I actually stole the ball from my coach several times, and that's when he decided to let me play a little bit.
Hey.
And he used to play in the NBA.
Really?
His name is Dan Mooney.
Whoa.
Hmm?
I've never played basketball with anyone from the NBA. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey.
I don't know.
Life takes you places.
I mean, yeah, my life is a wild ride. So what brought you from Cincinnati to Iowa?
We all just moved out.
Because the
Just-
Reds are so terrible at baseball? Is that what happened?
Ooh, are the Reds? We got Joey Votto still, but I guess you don't think that he's great anymore.
I mean,
We had Ken Griffey for a while.
you did, but here's the thing. How many postseason runs have the Reds had in the last, say, 20 years?
I don't want to even say on Mike what teams I actually like, because I would be the most hated person on the internet.
What? No one knows who you are.
They
It's
will
fine.
find
You have
out.
your back to the camera. Leon's your name. If they Google you, they'll come up with like a Ninja Turtle or something.
Their brother Leon. But
Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's who will pop up.
you can't say you're a Yankees fan ever.
Why? I just had a Yankees fan on here not that long ago. In fact, you can have this movie if you want.
Is it I'm curious what this Yankees movie would be.
Here you go.
Oh, yeah.
I watched that as preparation for getting ready for Jerry when he was on here. If you haven't seen Jerry's episode, Jerry was a fantastic talk. And he already had it, and I was going to give it to him. But if you don't have it, you can take it.
I don't have it, and I'll gladly take
There
it.
you go. I was really, really glad that I watched it. Probably not a movie I'll watch over and over. By the way, it's 61. If anyone hasn't seen it, you should watch it. Thomas Jane was absolutely amazing. Barry Pepper was really good. And Billy Crystal's in it. There's a lot of different fans of that one. It's not my favorite baseball movie ever. My favorite baseball movie ever was 42.
42 is really good. Oh, but my favorite is Moneyball. So
I just thought that 42, Chadwick did a great job.
Amazing.
Obviously.
Amazing.
But what really blew me away was Harrison Ford, because that was not your typical Harrison Ford role. And that might have been his best acting he's ever done.
most likely. I mean,
And
he's
I
pretty good.
just, yeah.
I mean, Harrison's just that actor, though.
Yeah.
He's gonna bring it. He doesn't like to phone it in. Even in Cowboys and Aliens, he didn't want to phone it in.
I have never seen that movie.
You
I
don't
own it.
You don't have to.
My son and I are going to watch it. He wants to watch it.
That is a Jon Favreau movie, and he's made he's made a lot of different movies. You don't like Favreau?
I have a love-hate relationship with Favreau.
I love Favreau.
What's your favorite Chip Favreau movie?
I mean, Iron Man 1's really good.
Okay.
But I love, like, he's made Elf, Zathura, which is a sequel to Jumanji, and it's super good, and everybody should watch it. They actually destroy the home, like, well, spoiler, but they actually have this house on this set that they have on this, it's a rise and lower tilting system, and they actually go through chronologically. It's hard to shoot a movie chronologically, and they just destroy it as they go. And he's just such a great director, from Elf to Zathura to Iron Man 1 to Mandalorian to I'm sure a million other things that I'm forgetting off the top of my head.
So as you watch The Mandalorian and you watch the Book of Boba Fett, you start to find that he starts screwing with the Star Wars canon.
He didn't do Book of Boba. That
Well,
was
he's written
Rodriguez.
it.
That was
If you
Rodriguez.
watch, it's written by Jon Favreau, which is that's the heartbeat of the whole thing. And if you start watching all these little things that they do in there
They switch
that
it up.
don't make any sense to the Star Wars canon.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that there are a lot of things where there was things that are happening and you're like, nope, that's not right.
They're doing too much for sure.
Oh, it's Disney. That's just a big money grab. They don't
Yeah.
care. They don't care about the purest of us all. They just care that you keep watching and
Now, say
Get
what
that
you
money.
will, though. Has any, like, in your lifetime, has anything equated to the MCU? Like the first couple of phases of the MCU, like up until Endgame, and even this new Spider-Man movie. Have you seen it?
yeah.
Yeah. So has anything equated to what's going on since Iron Man 1 to here?
I guess I don't know what you're asking. What do you mean? As far as equated.
has this been seen before?
As far as a franchise?
Like, yeah, for like 6 films now. And
James Bond.
Most of the yeah, that's true.
James Bond's was up to 25 before they killed James Bond.
But
Spoiler
like
alert.
good ones though, because like Moonraker, I like Moonraker. You had the Kananga balloon.
There, some of them are really hokey. I will give you that. Like especially
hokey.
when Roger Moore got involved, you're like,
oh, I love Roger Moore. I love Roger.
I
Moore.
like Roger Moore. I love Roger Moore, but come on, some of those were a little over the top.
Oh, you gotta love Roger Moore though. He's so good.
I hated Pierce Brosnan as Bond.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me. How can you hate Pierce Brosnan?
Because he wasn't good.
He was amazing. Oh, he was the quintessential Bond. At the beginning of...
Wait.
Okay, we're talking...
Quintessential Bond?
I said was before 2006. Because, like, I'm a kid all the way, by the way, like, in the 90s. So, like, when I saw him jump off that dam in GoldenEye, GoldenEye was so good. You're like, and he like gets into the plane at the last second. It's all so good.
GoldenEye may have been good, but that was the really. I take it back because I like Tomorrow Never Dies, not for Brosnan, but because of Jonathan Pryce, who was the villain.
Oh, Jonathan Pryce is so good.
He was so good in that movie.
Steve Jobs,
and I was like, that was a really great villain. But Brosnan to me will always be Remington Steele.
I never saw Remington Steele, and everyone's saying like that was because he was supposed to be it during that, but it didn't work out, so he had to wait until after. So,
and see, I actually thought that Timothy Dalton's very underrated.
Very underrated
as a Bond. I thought he was really good.
But my favorite, of course, is Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig is. I mean, and I know the Sean Connery fans are going to get mad at me, but I really, really thought Daniel Craig was the best Bond until the last movie, and I was like, oof.
Really? You didn't like No Time to Die?
I did not.
Oh,
I have a lot of issues with the story.
Yeah.
Because first of all, James Bond would not have fallen in love with someone like that after Vesper.
See, that's what everybody says, but
nope.
He's also James Bond. Like
nope.
We all love Vesper.
The only woman in his life that he would have been that committed to would have been M.
What happened to her?
She died.
Yeah.
All right.
He can't just be a stone.
That's his job.
Madeline
cold-hearted killer.
Madeline, he's James Bond.
Cold-hearted killer.
He is a cold-hearted killer, but he wants to love again.
For his love is country.
True, that is true. His one love is his country.
I mean, that was everything that drove him was duty, right?
Yeah.
So he would not have gone off on some romantic escapade with some woman and just been like, "Yeah, we're gonna have a baby together. It's fine."
Not. A lot of different points there. It's Léa Seydoux, but also like this Bond always went rogue. Like Bond goes rogue a lot, and this Bond was rogue more than not. He was never like, "Here's your mission, go." He was always like going rogue. So like he loved England and he did everything for England, but
even though he's Scottish.
Yeah, true. The character is Scottish, but.
I don't think there's ever been an English Bond. Everyone's either been Welsh or Scottish.
Craig is English. No?
I'm 90% sure that he is not English.
I'd say he's English because I know that Pierce, of course, is Irish.
All right. Hey, Mr. Craig, if you're listening, could you confirm or deny your country of origin, please?
I hope that he's English, just to say it. I think Connery, of course, is Scottish. Moore? Is he Welsh?
He was Welsh. Lazenby, if I'm not he was either Scottish or Australian.
He's Australian.
And then Timothy Dalton's not English either.
No.
Pierce Brosnan's not either. And so that brings you back to Daniel Craig, who I'm 90% sure is either Scottish or Scottish. I'm pretty sure.
For the record, I'm gonna say I think he's actually English. I feel like Rachel Weisz would just be like, "Listen, English or go home."
Yeah, he's very defensive of her too. It's kind of
they're both amazing actors.
They're amazing people.
Yeah, they really are.
Rachel Weisz stole the show in The Mummy.
She steals the show all the time. Have you seen The Favorite? Oh my goodness.
I have not.
It's with Emma Stone doing an amazing British accent.
Oh wait, I did.
Yeah.
That was the one where because it was like a lesbian love story with the Queen and all that, and I
Yeah.
was like, Emma Stone. Emma Stone, by the way, I love Emma Stone.
Really great.
Give me some Emma Stone anytime you want.
Yeah, she. I think
She's
recently
married now,
settled
so that broke
down
my
a
heart
little
as
bit.
well.
She's. It's crazy, like when you see Easy A, and you're like, oh, now they grew up.
Well, Stanley Tucci was an Easy A, so I'll watch that any day of the week too.
I'm not the biggest Tucci fan. I love him. He's great.
He just survived cancer.
He did.
He
I
had
didn't know he had
tongue
it.
cancer.
Oh.
Couldn't eat or anything like that, and so he just. And he has several cookbooks out. By the way, Mr. Tucci, if you would send me a signed cookbook, I would love that.
Sin 2. I like your movies.
Yeah.
I'm just not the biggest fan of all of this.
Oh, I love Stanley Tucci. In fact, one of his first roles was very like racy and controversial. I forget what the movie was called, but the cover of it has him tied to a chair with his shirt wide open.
Willy Wonka. No.
Yeah, Willy Wonka. That might be.
Well, you heard about the new one that's coming out with Timothée Chalamet?
A new Willy Wonka?
Yeah, apparently
No.
it's an origin story as well.
No.
So, yeah.
Out. Pass. Once they should never have done it after Gene Wilder. Like, just leave it alone.
I agree.
Gene Wilder is Willy Wonka, and that movie is timeless.
You ask anyone under the age of 25, and they're going to say they really like the new one, though. Like
'cause they don't know any
That's
better.
their new one. Yeah, they like both, but the new one is what they gravitate to.
They don't know anything better.
Yeah, they don't know any better.
don't know
The
any
first one's way better.
The first one scared me when she turned into the blueberry.
Uh-huh.
I can't watch that scene. I would get terrified.
It scared me because when he at the end when he yells at them, that was something else. I'd never seen that before. Yeah, movies used to be like they could scare you. Now everybody has to hold hands and win at the end.
Participation trophies.
I liked those. I was not athletic, so
I understood the value of a trophy super early in life. When I was 5 or 6, we were living in Germany, and I didn't know they gave out trophies for soccer, and only the team that finished top in the division would get the trophies. I also found out very quickly that there's a lot of politics in sports because the team that ended up winning the trophies was the director of the whole thing's team, right? So, okay, ha.
Does it.
But there was 6 teams, I believe, and we all went and played German teams, and our team was the only team to beat the Germans. Everyone else lost the German team.
What did they do back to you?
Nothing. No, they were very gracious and kind.
Well, that's very nice.
Yeah, no, actually the German people were very kind to me. I don't remember ever having a bad experience with the German people.
Where were you in Germany?
A little base called Simbach. It was right between Ramstein and Frankfurt.
Oh,
Yeah, I got to see France. I think we went to Belgium as well. We went to a few countries.
everything is so close. I would love to go.
Oh yeah, it's basically like just driving across to Indiana or something. Yeah. All the castles. I got to see Frankenstein Castle. That was really awesome. It has a trap door on it. Like I never thought trap doors actually existed, but there's a trap door inside Frankenstein Castle.
Just sometimes it matches what exactly you would want to see, you know?
Yeah, I mean there was a lot of castles. I did Volts marches. That's basically just walking 5 kilometers and you get a medal for doing it.
I need to go over there. Medals are a lot easier apparently to win over there.
They're very impressive looking.
If Germany ever gets the Olympic spot, I'll try. Maybe I'll win a gold.
I don't know if they can hold the Olympics anymore, can they?
In
After
Germany?
42?
In Germany?
Yeah.
Oh, why not?
I don't know. I thought it was part of the World War II treaty.
That would be a little mean to put in a treaty. You wouldn't think the Olympics would be something brought up in Versailles or Versailles was World War One, I think.
Yeah, they had it in 42 with the Berlin Games.
Yeah.
And that's when they split them off into 2.
Ah. But yeah. Well, hopefully one day they'll be allowed to have it.
Well, I mean, I
trust
would be
them.
all for it. I'm not having nothing against Germany.
I trust them.
Their food is delicious.
Yeah, I love their food. I mean, bratwurst.
Wiener Schnitzel. You ever had Wiener Schnitzel?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, you should get on that.
Anything shaped like a hot dog, that's food. Like, and you can grill it. I'm all for it. Sausage.
So how about an Impossible Dog?
Yeah. That's the thing though. I went like semi-vegetarian for a year and it was super easy except the sausage because it's my favorite thing.
Right.
And there's not a really good sausage substitute so far.
I was actually really impressed with the Impossible Whopper. I didn't think it was going to be that good.
It was pretty good.
It is pretty good. I now if I go to Burger King, I don't actually get their actual. I always get the Impossible stuff because
It's healthy. And
I
good.
don't know if it's healthy. It's healthier.
And better.
Nothing at Burger King is healthy. Let's be real.
That's true. I like their chicken fries, and none of that makes sense. So.
No, it's all fried. It's very Scottish. Everything in Scotland's fried.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite breakfast food is Scotch eggs.
I love Scottish eggs.
Yeah,
Oh,
not many people have had
Scotch.
them.
yeah, covered in
Well, if you love sausage, that explains
Yeah.
everything. Hard-boiled egg covered in sausage.
I always try to make them, and it doesn't. The yolk always is solid. I kind of like a runny yolk.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know that you should do that, having running yolk inside of a Scottish egg. I don't know if that would be a good idea.
I think so.
Salmonella.
Rocky.
Rocky didn't listen to the health advisories.
I saw Rocky 4, and anything Rocky 4, I'm all for.
Do you feel like they should have stopped at the end of Rocky 4?
Yeah. Well, no.
5 was terrible.
5 was awful. And
Rocky Balboa was okay.
I didn't even like Rocky Balboa that much, but like it had that really good speech in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, love or hate Rocky. You watch that speech and you're like, it's a little dumb because he's just like, yeah, go, yeah, go, yeah, go. But it's really nice that it's a heart touching moment, and like you get to see like your idol, super old, his wife's gone, like Polly's kind of still there, but it's like a not glorified Rocky 4.
Mm-hmm.
He's on top of the world. Like he's broke again. It's pretty good. And it's like, why was an old man trying to fight a world champ? Like, you're gonna die.
No, I did like Creed.
That's what I'm saying. It eventually got us to Creed.
But then Creed 2 was
yeah.
garbage because Sylvester Stallone wrote Rocky into it way too much.
Yeah. It just wasn't great either. But Creed 3, Michael B. Jordan's gonna direct it, and I like that. Because Sylvester Stallone directed, I believe, 2 through.
See, I always get
5.
worried when people say they're going to direct their own movies.
Sylvester
Because-
Stallone did it well.
I mean, did he?
Rocky 2 through 5,
I don't know, man.
he did a good job.
He might be the most famous porn to live actor.
Oh no.
You don't think so?
There's so many though.
All right, who else besides him is more popular that did porn first?
Oh, I just think that so many people did it, and you just don't hear it. You
I don't
hear
know,
about it.
man.
I'm telling you, I
The
think
age of the internet?
most actors, I think, did it.
No, I don't think so.
You just don't hear about
No,
it.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think
Hollywood's a
most.
strange place.
Oh, I agree with that. I didn't survive there. I tried to be an actor. I was told I don't have the look or the personality.
Did you have an agent?
No.
I'm curious about anybody that's tried Hollywood because, like, you see all these movies, you see the auditions, you have to get used to no matter how good you are, and I don't even think I could take 2 no's in a week. You know, it just
Have you not asked anyone on a date before?
Have I? Yeah, I have. I guess.
Okay.
I play it super safe. I'm usually like a friend for a year and a half, and then something opens. That's why I say I'm not good at like acting, because you can't be friends with a producer and then hope he'll get you into a movie. You have to audition.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm used to being told no. I ask people on a date like daily, just so that you get that rejection and you just kind of toughen yourself up.
Yeah, I feel like you do have to exercise some muscles of just trying new things.
Yeah, I mean, I've auditioned for America's Got Talent like 16 times now.
You have?
Yeah.
You saw the judges?
The first time I actually got to see a producer, and that was in Chicago at Navy Pier, and I actually got to see David Hasselhoff.
Oh.
He was in talking, like I walked into the room and he was in talking to the producer with his back turned to me. So I didn't really know what was going on. And then he turned around to walk, and I was like, oh, and he's like, good luck. And I was like, how am I supposed to perform now? Like,
I wouldn't.
and then I
couldn't.
bombed terribly.
What'd you do?
I did a stand-up comedy routine that wasn't very good.
Oh, I'm sure it was good.
No, I actually hadn't, like, I'm not a stand-up comedian. I try to be.
You're funny.
But, thank you. I appreciate that. But we're not talking about my looks. I try to be funny. I don't know. Usually I need a springboard to get me going. Once it gets turned on, I think it's all right. But
I think you're very funny. And like whoever's listening to this, they know too. Like, so what's the difference between something like this or a conversation out in the real world and like doing stand up? Because I thought about doing stand up and I'm wondering what's the difference.
my problem is that when I do stand up, my feet hurt. So I got to sit down. So it's more sit down comedy. Ideally, I'd like to do lay down comedy, which is what all my ex-girlfriends say happens. Everyone I've laid down next to laugh a lot. So it's fun. I guess I'm just funniest when I'm laying down at night.
Like that Simpsons episode where Homer became an opera singer when he was lying down on his back.
Really? I haven't seen all the Simpsons.
It was like a newer one that was like actually good. Like it was pretty funny.
I haven't seen an episode of Simpsons probably in 2 or 3 years now.
Oh, I haven't probably seen one in close to 10.
I always liked the Treehouse of Horror. Those were always fun.
No, always. I just think the Lady Gaga one definitely got me off of them. I was like, we really don't have to watch anymore.
Lady Gaga grew on me. Like at first I thought she was too weird and couldn't get into it. And some of her songs were okay and all that, but the more I've watched some of her acting and things, I'm like, all right, I see the appeal.
She's a good actress.
When you tone down the crazy a little bit and, actually let people see your talent. She's amazingly talented.
Very much so.
And she's a great singer.
Shallow is so good.
I'm not. Bradley Cooper, like I was really big on him, and then I wore out on him.
See, he directed himself, and that was his debut, and that was a good movie.
But it's a movie that's been done 5 times.
5 times. Yep.
Like, I mean, okay. So, did you ever see Bad Words?
Yeah.
Jason Bateman directed that.
Yeah, he's very good too.
That was a really weird movie. I love me some Catherine Hahn. Catherine Hahn. That was the most awkward sex scene I've ever seen in a movie, and it cracked me up.
Have you seen MacGruber?
Yeah.
That's the most awkward.
No, because at that point in time, I'd already tuned out. Like within 4 minutes, I was like, my brain cells are dying.
You tuned out.
My IQ dropped 20 points after the end of that movie. I was like, I don't know what just happened.
It's a really good movie.
Professional wrestlers have better chances with chair shots than you do watching that movie.
Oh, I get it. There's a celery scene in that movie where you guys should go out there and check it out.
No, I can't rewatch that movie. I watched it once. I'm not doing it again. I also saw The Brothers Solomon. Did you ever see that?
Yep.
That one made me kind of go, oh, my brain.
Yeah.
My brain.
Oh, man. I can't believe that, though.
Yeah, I'm going to really blow your mind. Did you ever see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original ones? Back in the 80s?
Yes, but I was a kid. So
okay, great. That's fine. Did you ever see The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yes.
Uncle Phil is the Shredder.
I think I saw a picture of that. I didn't believe it. I thought that was like a lie.
I didn't believe it either. And then I was like, okay, now I have to go back and watch the cartoon. And now it's ruined my life forever because every time you hear Shredder, all you hear is Uncle Phil. And I'm like, some things you wish you just didn't know.
Mm-hmm. And you want to cry a little bit because he's gone.
I did. I went and sat in the big bowl and just put the shower on me and just cried.
Oh, losing people with like celebrities that you grew up with is a whole nother thing because it's just.
As you get older, it happens more often.
It's rough.
That's one of the hard parts about getting old is that death is inevitable and people just keep dying off. Like Betty White was in my book. She's number 2 of my people I wish I could go on a date with. And now I'll never be able to go on a date with her.
She just almost made to 100 too.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Like Prince, like listening to Prince, Mike too, like
greatest Super Bowl show of all time, Prince in the Rain in Miami.
I remember that very well. I rewatch it a lot, re-listen to it. Great. I mean, when he kicks that mic down and he's like, and everyone's like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ooh." But I really like that one. Bruno Mars killed his.
I'm not saying he didn't. I don't think it was the greatest.
I think I liked it. Like, listen, I wanted Prince. He came out with one album when he did his Super Bowl performance. Bruno Mars, and so he had a lot to prove, and he proved it in spades.
I'm not saying Bruno Mars is not amazing.
Yeah,
I'm not denying that. I think Bruno Mars is actually Bruno Mars. I like him more than I would care to admit because he's a fantastic performer. He's a great musician. It's hard not to like him because he's so bubbly and happy, right? He just wasn't the greatest show.
I agree.
Like this year's show, everyone's all like, "This was the best show ever," and I'm like, "No, this was not the best show ever. It was okay.
it was okay.
I'm not an R&B person, so I don't like rap because I don't like the message it sends.
I like rap. It's. I think it's so. It's like saying you don't like rap is like saying you don't like music. Because a lot of people will be like, well, I don't really like music. Because have you listened to all music?
You have to explain that one to me because I've listened to rap.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. It's just there's a lot of different kinds. Like there are people that won't do this, and there are people that will do that. So you have to think about it with music. You go, no, I've heard a song before and I didn't quite like it. And it goes, well, there's a lot of different kinds. So Childish Gambino isn't J. Cole, and J. Cole isn't Kanye West, and Kanye West isn't Jay-Z, and none of them are Tribe Called West.
Okay, but here's the thing, is that in all those people that you mentioned, there's 4 very significant themes in everything that they do.
Which is?
Drinking, drugs, violence. If you listen to some of the stuff they talk about, Jay-Z had, back in his day, come on.
That's you talking Jay-Z, and also current him only talks about his wife Beyonce and making money. That's it.
Okay, so he's now a rich elitist.
Very much so.
That's who you want to listen to?
If I became rich, would I then become someone that everybody has to hate because I'm elite?
I wouldn't want to hope to be elite. I would hope that my money would bring happiness to other people.
I think he very much lets that happen with charities in Houston a lot, quite.
Well, I mean,
in New York, and
I don't know Jay-Z personally, but like, all right, so Eminem, very popular,
yeah, very popular.
A lot of rage and anger in his voice, a lot of anti this and anti that, right? Yeah. Even his new stuff is kind of like, I know because it was on one of the wrestling games. I was like, anytime that song comes on, I have to mute the TV because I just can't handle it. I'm like,
I think I can say I've liked Eminem's music before, and it's never anything of the hard stuff. You can appreciate art in many ways. I mean, I like a lot of different art. I've seen ballet, I've seen opera. Russian ballet just came to Cedar Rapids. Right. I saw that. It was a pretty great night. One of my favorites. But
I took my grandma to go see Shen Ying. Mm-hmm. Were you here for that?
I have no idea what that is, but I'm going to look it up. Oh, I do know what that is. I wanted to see it.
The Chinese ballet.
Yes.
Yeah. They can't do it. They can't do it in their home country.
It was in October. I was really going to see that one. Mm-hmm. Was that the Paramount?
Yeah.
Oh, I really wanted to see that one.
I took my grandmother a few months before she died.
Oh, and my condolences.
Really. Well, thank you. She had a very long life. Mm. She was a very fascinating woman.
Grandmothers. My grandmother too.
She was tough.
My grandmother lived in Louisiana, and they moved to Missouri, still the South, but they moved, I'm sure, because it was extremely dangerous to live in Louisiana in the 1950s and 60s.
Clarify that.
I think for Black people, it was a little hard to live in the 40s, 50s, and 60s
down in Louisiana. And that's what I really want to talk to Morgan Freeman about living in deep South Mississippi.
Oh, Mississippi.
And growing up. Oh. So do you know about Callas?
About who?
Callas? Callas. Since you're a foodie.
It sounds familiar. You have to remind me.
So they're called freedom food. And what they are they're rice fritters during the slave time in Louisiana, you were a slave Monday through Saturday. Mm-hmm. You had Sunday off. And so on those Sundays, the Kala ladies would leave the plantations or whatever they were doing, and they would go and sell these rice fritters to try and get money to buy their freedom. So it's called freedom. It's actually the food of freedom. And it's one of my favorite stories about food ever. And I've made them before. They're fantastic. There's recipes all over the internet. Go make yourself some kalas and
Yeah.
just enjoy them.
I like that.
They're not amazing like taste wise. They're not like you're gonna bite into it and go, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever eaten, right? It's kind of like a rice hush puppy in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
covered in powdered sugar. But when you know the story behind it, there's that interaction of like, oh my goodness, this is really an important part of our culture.
And you know, I think that's something that we can't forget as a country and just individually, you know. It seems a little sad that a lot of people are already. Like,
You know, the thing that really breaks my heart though, as bad as slavery is and as bad as people have been treated, how much worse we treat the natives and how we have completely and still to this day wiped them off the face of the earth. Like now the last thing is we're attacking the sports team names, right? You can't have a team named after the natives and all that. This is the last front they get talked about. We don't talk about native culture. We don't talk about native issues. We don't talk about any of this. And it breaks my heart. This was their home.
absolutely. And that's the thing about treating someone horribly. It's hard to own up to it. And when you go, it's like your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids, they don't want to talk about it either. They didn't actively do it.
Right.
They're not doing it anymore, but it is, you know, a lot of the stuff is in the water. And until we start to talk about more of the Native Americans and just what it's like to look different or be different in a country, it's going to be a little rough because, you know, I have many types of friends. I've got Jewish friends, I've got Asian American friends, I've got of course African American friends, I've got white friends, I've got Indian friends. I don't want to be, I know I'm probably 80% of the people I know only black friend.
Not mine.
Good.
My brother's black.
Hey.
I'm doing his interview Saturday. I mean, I'm one of the rare people that grew up like one of the high schools I went to in Austin. The white people made up 4% of the population.
Well, it's Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my. I can't wait to go. That's my mecca. I have to go.
All right. Well, it's way different than when I used to live there, from what I understand.
You have to be a millionaire.
Well, no, it's just that it's culturally changed, and then it's just growing like a wild. But there's lots of rattlesnakes there now.
Oh, there wasn't when you were there.
Not like it is now.
You would think with a more metropolitan area to like get some of that stuff out, but it's still Texas.
No, my friend who lives in Austin said that they had an infestation of rattlesnakes in their yard. They had to call the snake guy, and he had to go and catch them, and then they had to go and look underneath the house and make sure there was no more in the nest or nothing like that. And it's happening all over their neighborhood. Like as Austin grows and whatever, the snakes are moving in. I don't know.
Well, they call it the new Silicon Valley, and there's so much more with just F1, and just that city is booming with so much real estate that's just not touchable now. If you have any land or any property in Austin, keep it because it's just so valuable.
Right.
But for that reason, I would think that they would get rid of all these creatures,
But why do we have to destroy creatures because we want their spot?
Oh, we don't have to. I was just thinking of like Disney World. Like there's no bugs in Disney, yet alone it's built in a swamp.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow. Just we kind of, I would think that we can control that.
That's the thing is that there's no other animal in the world that destroys its own habitat like we do.
Well, are we the most intelligent beings in the universe?
Are we?
Are we? I think.
No, we're not.
Have we seen anything else?
We have. Well, all right. So if we're the most intelligent beings on Earth, why are we killing ourselves? We've now made two, not one, but two 50-mile wide islands of garbage in the ocean. Are we not aware that we need the ocean to survive?
Has any living being on this planet made a zoo of us?
Why would they do that?
Well,
Why do we have zoos is another thing.
I agree with
and
that.
and part of it is the original reason I think behind it was to conserve the wildlife that was being killed. So I understand that side of it. Like you're trying to keep life going.
I hope.
However, like the fact that we feel like we have to just wipe out these animals just for the sake of wiping them out.
I definitely don't agree with that, but also I just think we take it too far in every way.
Absolutely.
But that's our nature, as such as in nature of a lion to kill, and for many other animals to do what they do. A penguin's gonna do what they do. They're just their animal, and we're our animal, and it's not great. But we're supposed to be smarter to fix it. We got to see it and fix it. I guess we got to take care of the planet as well.
Yeah, that's not going to happen though.
Yeah.
Because what happens is we choose decadence and convenience over necessity.
I agree with that. Yeah, that we do that. Unfortunately, do you think the new generations are gonna not just be all talk and we're actually gonna do something about
No.
it? No.
Well, think about how the new generation is being programmed, right? I don't want to talk to you during dinner, so here's your phone. Play a game or something.
That's fair.
I mean, I worked in the restaurant industry for 15 years. I remember taking my kids out and playing tic-tac-toe and, drawing on the placemats and having conversations and whatever,
Go to
right?
Cracker Barrel and play the square.
Yeah,
game.
whatever, and you'd actually connect and bond with your children and all that.
Uh-huh.
Now, parents are like, I don't want to deal with you. I can't tell you how many times I walk up to a table and all four people are on their phone. Mom, dad, two kids, and they're all just, and you're like, hey, can I get your order? As if, I guess I'll have a water. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think it's gonna be phones though forever.
it's going to be holograms next.
Yeah. Or visual
or watches
eyes.
or
Something.
And now TikTok is doing this thing where I guess the algorithm is sending through more 7-second videos than anything else because they're trying to shrink your attention span. And people are like, that's stupid. No, that's pretty much what's happening. You think about the average time, no one watches a lot of these this whole way through because it's too long. The average video length a person watches these days is 38 seconds. That's why TikTok got so famous, because it was short little clips of and I found that even in me, like I'll sit down and try and watch a movie and I'll get about halfway through and I'm like, I wonder if there's someone new on my dating app, or I wonder if there's, and I've noticed that even on myself, and I'm like, I hate that.
Yeah, we're trying to stop it. And I think Aziz Ansari, he put it perfectly at the end of his newest stand-up special, because he's been out of the public eye for a very long time, but he had a stand-up special, and he talked about, I have this app that helps me not use my phone at certain hours of the day. And then this newest one that was about 4 or 5 years ago, this newest one, he said, yeah, that didn't quite work out. So I took it to the next step. And he took his phone out of his pocket and he flipped it open and he closed it. And it was like, there it is. That's what you do.
I mean, the flip phone was really the greatest thing because you didn't have all the apps and all the other stuff on it. It was literally just a phone that you would use to call.
But
People don't call each other anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, when's the last time you had a phone conversation with someone?
This morning and last night, but I think you're right about that. And also, who doesn't remember those things? I mean, those things are much more personal to me than any text I've ever gotten.
Right.
Because you can really sit there. I mean, even when you're a kid dating, if there's any young people out there, it used to be pretty cool. You could be on the phone forever talking to somebody, or it's like the radio. Like,
Radio's dead.
It's like we used to have a special relationship with the radio, no matter what age you were.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who wouldn't like not have anything to do on a Friday or Saturday night and just go face up to the radio and just lie there, and you can even record your mixtapes. Like, it was It was cool.
People don't know the pain that it took to make a mixtape.
Even see, I'm a little out of the time of mixtape, like because I still did it, but like it was out.
Were
by
you
then.
burning a CD?
I was burning a CD.
All right. Same concept.
Very much so. It's like making a playlist on Spotify, but like you're not sharing it like you used to back then.
Yeah.
It's hard though making a playlist.
Is it?
It's hard.
I've never done it on Spotify. I don't even have Spotify.
I don't actively have one. Like I have one for a podcast that I listen to, but that's all I use it for. If I want to listen to music, I'm going to YouTube.
I have my iPod.
I've never
That's
had
the
an
only
iPod.
Apple product I own, by the way.
Oh,
And it was given to me.
as a gift? What kind is it?
I don't know. It's pink.
Pink? I'm curious because like they're not common anymore.
No, I mean, and that was kind of sad to me too because I liked my iPod. I could just download 800 million songs onto it, and you knew whatever song you're gonna listen to you liked.
Well, it's a lot different now though because space is something else with technology. Like I was just watching Transformers like 2 nights ago, and the FBI got their microchip, and they had all of this data that the Transformers were trying to use to get all of the Sam Witwicky stuff in to save the world, and it was
Shayla
six,
Bow.
six, 6 gigabytes.
Yeah.
Or 6 or 2 gigabytes. And I was like, you can't get anything with that these days.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that people don't really realize is how far advanced the military is compared to what the public is. So you know the little chips that are in your credit card?
Yeah.
Okay. When I was in the military back in 2002, was that right? Something like that. We already had those. And not only was that in your debit card, that had your medical records, your dental records, your anything that had to do with you, they could zip it right off that card.
Shows they really care about us. Comes 20 years later.
When you sign up for the military, man, you are government property, and
Yep.
they will do whatever they want to you. You signed that contract. Nothing you can do about it.
Hey, but I do love the military. I love.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very important.
It's very important, and you know, regardless of what we've done to the world, which I'm sure has been plenty, I do love this country. I love America, and
Why do you think that Americans don't like each other, though? Like, why
you mean
is there
as
such
Americans or each other?
why is there such a divide? Why do we hate each other so much right now?
Well, I think the media is a big part of that, but I think it's just misunderstanding. They can't talk to each other like we are right now. I think there's nothing more dangerous than disliking someone and being adamant about it.
Right.
So it's like you don't understand who they are or what they're going through. They probably had their issues here or there. Everybody goes through something. Everybody pays a toll. And for no one to want to understand each other is it's sorry.
You're good.
I'm not crying here, by the way. It's just clearing my
Well,
throat.
and that's another thing is that, and I'm not faulting you for this, okay? But I think it is sad that people have to be so concerned about what they're going to say on a show that they have to hide their identity. Like, it's, you know, and I understand where you're coming from. Like, you know, you said I'm future job interview or something. I don't want something to come back to me.
Well,
And that's kind of, it's a sad point of view because it's like that totally violates our freedom of speech. First of all, like that we're worried about this. Like freedom of speech still exists, but it doesn't.
well, public court of opinion is something else.
Right. Court of opinion by the public is, I mean, we were just talking about it off camera. People are getting canceled for something they said 15, 20 years ago. Well, 15, 20 years, even in 2 years, you can change. You can change your opinion in 3 months. That's one of the things I loved about Jesse Ventura is that he would come out and say, well, I believe this. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, you know what? Upon further research and further investigation, I found that my opinion has changed on this, you know. It's okay to say that you changed your mind. It's okay to change your opinion if you've done the research and found a legitimate reason for it.
Yeah, but anybody can take apart anything these days.
Oh, I know.
And the second, sorry,
You're
I'm
all
gonna
right.
have to take that Powerade actually. Thank you. Gotta love that purple.
Do you? Is purple your favorite color?
Purple is not my favorite color, even though I really like that Prince halftime show.
Okay. What is your favorite color?
I think blue is nice.
All right.
Blue or red.
Blue or red?
I like the Red Ranger growing up, but I like blues. So.
Oh, my favorite Ranger was the pink one.
I didn't like the pink one that much.
She was beautiful.
I feel
I
like
know. There I go objectifying again.
oh, you can have an opinion. Like
No, you know what I find really funny is that a guy gives a girl a compliment, he's sexualizing her and objectifying her, right? But a woman does the same thing to a man, and that's no harm, no foul. Channing Tatum would not be a A-list celebrity if he didn't have the body he did.
I think he's a really good actor.
Okay.
That first Magic Mike,
Okay, you think Magic
it's a-
Mike is acting?
it's a Steven Soderbergh character piece. It's that first Magic Mike. Everybody rewatch it. It's a Steven Soderbergh character piece. It's pretty good.
That is not acting.
It's acting.
Did you see the first G.I. Joe movie?
I did.
He was awful in
He
that.
was not great. I saw that in the theater. That was probably one.
I just saw Dog, right? And
Yeah.
Dog is a very important movie. It's not a comedy.
Oh,
It's not a comedy at
not a
all.
comedy.
It's very heavy. And Channing Tatum was okay in that. He's not a great actor. He's a pretty face. He's got a good body, but
And
he's not a great
have you seen
actor.
him in Foxcatcher?
What?
Foxcatcher. It's got Mark Ruffalo. It's
Oh,
about-
that was the wrestling movie.
yeah.
I have not seen that one, the
It's
Steve Carell one.
Very good. It's a drama.
Very heavy as well, from what I heard.
It's pretty heavy. It's
Yeah.
a real life event happened, and it really lets you know what happens to these Olympians. And
Oh, yeah.
especially back then, there wasn't your Kellogg deal. Like he was, I think the first scene we see him in, he's playing an Olympian, 3 gold medalist, and he's like putting hot sauce on bread or something. Like he literally is like the brokest person ever, and
Right.
he's not super smart. And these Olympians, they do all of this for no money. I mean,
No, Channing Tatum as a person, I
Oh,
enjoy. We actually got to party at his bar. So,
oh yeah,
um,
in Louisiana.
yeah,
Yeah.
Saints and Sinners.
Uh huh.
He's a very nice human being, right? I have nothing against Channing Tatum as a person. He's not my first choice for actor.
I don't think.
And I
he
don't
would
think
be.
he's a great actor. I think he's marketable. He's
Uh-huh.
funny. He doesn't take himself seriously.
21 Jump Street's a great movie.
But that's not great acting.
Well, it depends on what you think is great acting.
I mean, he's kind of like Owen Wilson, right?
yeah.
When you cast Owen Wilson,
You know what you
you're
like.
getting Owen Wilson, right? You're not getting
Wow.
right. Like so, Channing Tatum kind of fits that same thing, right?
I
When
don't
you
think
cast
so.
Channing Tatum, you're getting Channing Tatum.
Watch the first Magic Mike again.
I did not want to watch the first one the first time.
I didn't either. But
Although I
did
will
see the
say,
Soderbergh
I have a
movies.
great story about that movie though.
Oh, I'm curious.
Is it came out the same day Ted did. You know Ted, the
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
teddy bear. And a bunch of my friends wanted to go see Ted, and I was like, all right. So I went ahead of the movie to go get it. And this is back in the day when midnight showings was a thing.
Uh huh.
So Thursday night, so it's Thursday night, Friday morning. I'm there at 10:30 to buy tickets for Ted. And I have nothing to do, so I'm sitting there, and this is back in the day when I didn't have a phone or anything, so I'm just kind of sitting there like, all right, I'm gonna waste some time. And all of a sudden I see girl, gay guy, girl, gay guy. I'm like, what is going on? So I went back to the counter. I was like, what is happening? And she's like, oh, Magic Mike came out tonight. And I'm like, what is Magic Mike? And she's like, it's a movie about male strippers. They sold out 5 theaters full for this male stripper movie. I turned to one of my friends and said, man, we're going the wrong movie. He's like, I don't want to see no male stripper. I said, I don't either, but you got to think of it like this. There's going to be 1,500 horny women walking out of that theater? Come on, man.
I think that I like to work out and look good. I don't think anybody's gonna watch because Soderbergh came back and there's gonna be Magic Mike's Last Ride, and I'm excited for it because the second one was just the fun one. But I'm talking character piece for that first one, and this next one, if they're walking out of there, I don't think that they're looking for me. I think they're looking for Channing. I don't think they're looking for me.
I can't finish the story, but
Well, I'm happy. I mean, that's good. That's good. Like after watching Black Panther, I walked out of there. It was a great movie. Have you seen it?
oh yeah,
Yeah, amazing.
I own it.
Very good. Me too. It's
The only
great.
Marvel movie I don't own right now is Captain Marvel because Brie Larson. I can't handle Brie Larson.
I love Brie Larson. I did not like the
How
movie.
can you handle Brie? She is so egotistical. Have
Have you seen
grinds on
Scott
me.
Pilgrim versus the World?
Yes,
She's really good.
I didn't like that one either.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
Michael Cera doesn't do it for me.
Such a good movie. And Edgar Wright directing it, so good. Just,
And that was before my attention span started drifting, and I was like,
Yeah.
no. I do like Chloe Grace Moretz. I think
Uh-huh.
she's great.
She's
I
a
saw
good actress.
Kick-Ass 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Mark
Cage.
Strong is fantastic.
He's very good. Nick Cage is in that.
Yeah,
He's very good.
Nick Cage is in everything anymore. It seems like.
Well, you can probably get him on the podcast.
I don't think so. I don't think I could. I don't have any money to pay him. Unless he was coming in. See, I have $1.
That'll do it.
Well, you think he'll come on for
That'll do
$1?
it.
Give me 2 hours of his time for $1.
What would you ask him about? Like, what would you talk to
Nicolas
about?
Cage?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What wouldn't I talk to him about?
He's a Coppola, so.
I would talk to him about working with Sean Penn back at Fast Times at Ridgemont High. We'd have to start there,
You
right?
can.
And then, how does everything, like, he's another one, like when you cast Nick Cage, you're getting Nick Cage.
You're getting Nick.
You're not getting, and even though in that he still won an Academy Award for Leaving Las Vegas,
He's
which
very-
was a great movie.
Great movie.
Elizabeth Shue was amazing in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Working with Sean Connery, what was that like?
The Rock.
The Rock. What was it like having that crazy hot run for, 4 or 5 years? Where you
Yeah.
had The Rock, you had Con Air, you had Face Off. There for a bit, he was really, really hot, and then things kind of trickled off. And how do you deal with that? How do you go from having that really hot peak to what is that emotional ride like? And how do you overcome that?
Well, again, like a lot of people in his family are in the film industry, and they have like his uncle made The Godfather, so
Right.
like
And also owns a very popular wine.
very popular wine company. He made The Godfather Part 1, Part 2, The Conversation, and Apocalypse Now. So like, how do you do all of those and then have 50 more years of making movies that nobody's ever heard of?
Mhm.
Like, you get used to failure, I guess, in a way.
Well, I mean, one of the people that I was fortunate enough to meet through my serving career was David Evans, who directed The Sandlot.
Oh,
Now, David Evans has directed a lot of other movies, but how many of them is he actually remembered for besides The Sandlot?
Tears for Fears.
So I would love to have him come talk as well. I haven't reached out to him because I'm scared to death. Like we're on email basis. I wouldn't call us friends, but I would definitely say that if I send him an email, he usually responds. Whether it's just 2 sentences, he will send me back something. So there's a respect level there, which is why I've never asked him for any help, because I'm like, I don't want to feel like I'm stepping on any toes or anything.
Yeah.
But I definitely, I've thought about reaching out to him to talk to him about coming on the show, because
James
I would like to hear his, what was it like having Darth Vader play?
yeah, James Earl Jones.
What is it like working with some of these high profile names, but also what got him into film and what made him love it? Why do you love movies so much?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I don't think that there's even there's no bigger world. You know, you can love a song. That's the thing. Donald Glover was talking about this. Childish Gambino. He was talking about this on The Shop, LeBron James TV show where he just talks in a barber shop, but it's all fake. But he was talking about it, saying, as Childish Gambino, he can make a love song or a pop song or a rap song or whatever, and it can become song of the year, and it's great. Or he can make a really popular TV show like Atlanta, which is amazing and wins every award. And it's great. I love Atlanta more than anything he's
I don't
ever
know what that
recorded.
is.
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's absolutely brilliant and amazing. It's on FX. But new season comes out soon. But so he's doing a lot right now, and he said, as much as I like making Atlanta or making a good movie or writing a good movie or directing, which he does as well, and very good. He's very well directed in that too, as in with awards. He goes, you put on a TV show, like you start a movie and you're like, oh, I could watch this, but if you listen to a really good song, everybody in the room can just sort of get with it and dance with it, or just appreciate it. You're like, wait, stop. When doves cry.
That doesn't answer the question, but all right, that's fair.
It kind of does. Like, it just shows that, like, as good as music is, and I love music, a movie can really just take you places. Actually, that doesn't answer that question. I just realized I just explained that music was better than
You
movies.
did. You
But-
totally just said music is way better than movies. And I
I'll
was
give you a way out of that by saying The Dark Knight. You put The Dark Knight on, every second of that movie is going to make you watch the rest of that movie.
did you see the Batman yet?
I did see the Batman.
All right. So, what was your take of the Batman versus the Dark Knight?
So this is going to be the rest of the show?
No, it's not going to be the rest of the show.
I mean, it could be because, I mean,
It could
there's
be.
a lot to talk about. I think that The Dark Knight is a better movie and film. I think it's just better in general, but I quite like the Batman. I mean, it was just different. And I think I don't know how it was in rated R. I don't agree with that
Bro,
at
I
all.
totally think it should have been a rated R movie.
Super. But did you like it? We'll start with that.
No.
You didn't like it.
My problem was that it felt like you took the Dark Knight and you rehashed it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The Riddler is the Joker all over again, using video cameras to do his bad guy talks, including torturing a guy, just like the Joker had the TV anchor reading his death sentence. So the Joker, he basically took the Joker character, turned it into the Riddler, and there was so many similarities in that whole thing. But then Catwoman and Batman, like Batman sees her through a window and just falls instantly in love with her. No, that's not how this goes. Because the whole thing between Catwoman and Batman was the one-upsmanship, right? She would outwit him, and that intrigued him because he's so cerebral. And then he'd get the drop on her, and then she's like, ooh, I finally got caught. Well, now I have to get away. It's almost like this BDSM type thing going on, right? But that's what it is. It's that cat and mouse trickery game that happens and develops that whole thing. And people are like, this is the best thing. No, this was garbage. Like, Zoe Kravitz was great as Catwoman.
She was pretty good.
Right? She was way better than Anne Hathaway was.
Way better. But I like Anne. I didn't like her Catwoman. I like Anne.
I have nothing against Anne Hathaway. She wasn't Catwoman.
I agree.
Zoe Kravitz did a great job as that. Paul Dano, given what he was given, did a great job with I love Paul Dano.
Yeah, he's good. There will be
Robert
blood.
Pattinson, the Bruce Wayne is completely off. What was that? The haircut,
It's a new take.
but it's not Bruce Wayne.
I agree because we know what these characters are and where. It's year 2 though. It's year 2.
Again,
So he's
but
got
it's
time
not,
to become that.
but it's not Bruce Wayne. Like, that was the one thing I really liked about Batman Begins, is that Bruce Wayne is so focused on trying to corral the evil, and you have this other voice going, no, you need to be part of this too. And then you have, like, there was a lot of political agenda in it too. Like, when you have the mayor coming up and talking to, and it's a black woman talking to a white man saying, you're not doing anything. there's that undertone of what's happening today and the messages that are being sent. And I'm like, I hear about this in the real world. I don't want to hear about it in a movie. You know what I mean? Like,
And I think with that scene, they definitely gave like she seemed to be on the more conservative side as to, I understand your help Gotham initiative, but it's not doing anything like sort of thing where he seemed a bit like we're going to help and give relief to these Gotham citizens. And she's like, listen, we tried that. And that was just a plot ploy to get to what was Bruce's dad trying to do.
all right. Which
But
I also hated that they ruined Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, I think it's Batman has been a samurai, so like you can really throw him into anything. But I feel like with this one, they were going for something a little more realistic. And to Matt Reeves, that was their realism. Like he didn't fly down with the cape and didn't break his legs. He wingsuited and hit a bridge. Like I just think it was a darker take, and I fully agree with you, by the way, with it, because the producer himself, and this was the most cringiest thing I've ever heard, but the producer apparently looked Christopher Nolan in his eyes and said, "We're trying to beat you. We're trying to do what Dark Knight did, but trying to beat you." And I go, "Don't do that. Just make your own thing."
Yeah, do your own thing. Why? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, why do you, like, Hollywood keeps remaking movies? Why? What? And like, okay, so with the black movement happening the way that it is, and all power to it, right? But why are we remaking the Golden Girls and making them all black? Do your own thing and make it something that stands out and is fresh and new. Like, why do we have to take these old concepts and rehash them? I don't understand that.
I agree with that, but also like it's already been that way. Like whether it's black or white, it's always been remakes and
Right.
remakes talking about A Star Is Born again. Like
Five times.
It's gonna be a sixth one,
Oh, I'm sure there will be.
and Donald Glover is gonna do it. No,
Donald Glover, I loved him in Community.
wow. I mean, you got to see Atlanta. It's truly a masterpiece. It's very good. But yeah, no, I think remakes and stuff always happen.
Oh, absolutely. But
Some are warranted, some aren't. Like
Yeah.
Parent Trap.
there are so many who are not warranted. Like, man,
Very much.
just no, please.
But it's just a way to tell a story, you know. That's all. That's just and why I like movies is they can be ways of telling stories or showing good performances. I recently saw The Godfather again,
Mhm.
and I got a projector, so it's like huge, and it's just that movie is every second of that movie is.
That's what I have a
Special.
hard time with going to the movies now is that my TV is so much better than the movie theater is. Like, I have a 4K, 4K Blu-ray player and a 4K setup and all that, and I throw a movie in and I'm like, this looks 80,000 times better than the movie theater does. Why do I keep spending money to go to the theater?
Because it's an experience. You have to support your theater.
Yeah, no,
it's just so good.
Well, that, and also, I have some mental stuff that going to the theaters is actually very therapeutic
yeah,
because it shuts everything off for me
you escape.
in more ways than one.
Yeah. it's on my worst days, anybody out there on your worst day, you can go on a rainy day to a movie theater, and for for 2 hours you can escape and just enjoy whether it's a good movie or not. I saw Mr. Holmes with Ian McKellen, Sir Ian McKellen.
Mm-hmm.
That movie is not good. There's a lot of B's in that plot line. It's just not a great movie. Sorry, Ian, if you're listening to this. I think you're a great actor, but
Oh, Ian McKellen's a great. I mean, Gandalf. Was there anyone better? Who else could have played Gandalf
I
better
agree.
than Christopher McKellen?
I guess we're gonna find out with the new Lord of the Rings series.
Oh
but
God! Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started.
I have said it you and so many viewers, but it's possible it could work. It's possible.
But what it really feels like is this just another big money grab. You know what I mean?
Maybe it's because if you think about it, we don't do media like we used to. Like, how many limited series did you grow up with besides HBO in the 90s? Like, this could be something because now everything is limited series, TV series, and we're in the golden age of TV still. So
Yeah.
it could really bring
Game
something.
of Thrones changed a lot for HBO.
And before that, Breaking Bad changed the game for TV.
Well, actually, The Sopranos is what
Sopranos
really
really.
got this
And The
thing
Wire,
going.
yeah.
But I mean, Game of Thrones really put HBO head and shoulders above everybody else.
I really liked Sopranos. And they're like, dude, The Wire, The Wire, The Wire. I was like, I'm not gonna. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, all right, it's The Wire. Like,
I haven't seen The Wire.
you should watch it.
It's
Like,
about a newspaper, right?
I don't want to say what it's about. Because it's one of those things where it's like, once someone says something, you're like, oh, I'm not interested.
No, I mean, I've heard so many people talk about it that I am interested. I just haven't had the opportunity. I don't have HBO Max and all of that. I don't.
You don't? Oh, you should have HBO Max. Well, I think
Currently, I don't even have the internet in my house.
I would flip phone it if I were you. Like, I would just say that way, because the internet is a strange place, especially these days. But
Oh, I know. I'm fully aware.
I try to do my best though to like get it from out of its grasp. Like, I don't have TikTok, I don't have Twitter.
I have TikTok on my phone. I don't have Twitter on my phone. I go to it manually I use my phone to get to it, but I don't have an app. I have the Snapchat. I just recently got Venmo, so that's exciting.
Venmo's cool.
I mean, well, I'm trying to build my
Yeah.
business here, but yeah. Yeah.
It's hard not to live on the internet these days.
It's almost impossible.
We got to do what we can to sort of resist.
I totally agree. I mean, no one saw the internet coming the way that it did. You know, it was originally supposed to be a nice tool for, medical use and whatever, and it just turned into
the world.
And the worst parts of the world.
Did it just show us what we were, or did it worsen us?
Maybe a little bit of both. I mean, you think about the morality structure before the internet happened, right? Think about what we morally were.
I don't know.
You don't remember the non-internet days, huh?
No. I remember before the internet got good. And I remember dial-up barely, but that's it.
Yeah. Now it's like, if you wanted to find the dark recesses of your soul, you'd actually have to go search for it, right? Like, I remember when Faces of Death came out, and it was a videotape, and people are like, this was so controversial. And now that is nothing compared to what you can find on the internet. I mean, YouTube, I just saw a video because I thought it was fake. I was like, what is this? And it is literally a guy, an Islamic militant, talking, holding a rifle, and a mortar comes in and blows him up.
I saw that.
And I was like, that can't be real. Oh my God. Did I really just like...
I think I've seen that one.
And it was just like...
Watching
there's no
die.
reason for us to have that on the internet.
No.
But
any kid could have stumbled upon
Any
that.
kid can find it. And same thing with porn.
I know.
Like, porn is so accessible, and it makes it... I think it actually makes things so much harder for people. So
Euphoria. That TV show, have you heard of it? Euphoria? It's just porn. And it's like, it's set in high school, and it's got actors in their 20s and 30s, but they're playing these teenagers, and it's hyper stylized. It's shot well. And there's good actors. Zendaya's a really good actress. She's in it. She's great.
Who?
Zendaya.
I don't know who that is.
Mary
Zendaya,
J.
the girl. Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
But like, it's a lot of good performances in there, and the story's decent, and you can laugh sometimes, and it's drama, but it's got levity. Like, it's kind of funny sometimes, but it's not a comedy. But it's not the right call. I think it's just way too much sex, and I'm not like, I watch European movies. I have since for my entire life, and they don't really care about nudity. But once again, it's all art, especially when you're talking about film or TV. Sometimes it's just either a cash grab because sex sells, or it's just someone saying, "Oh, I can write a nudity this, I will," and I don't agree with that. But I think if you're gonna do something with the progressive story, it's something important to it, then sure. Or if it's just to, you can't just have it in there for no reason. It can be a small reason. It can just show you as an audience member are a part of this experience watching this film. and a sex scene entices you. And we want you to understand that, but also enjoy the content. And that's a part of it. But Euphoria, I feel, doesn't do that. I feel like they're just like, we have these young people.
And we're showing them
gonna
naked for no reason.
every episode and for a lot of the episode.
Yeah.
It's long shots. And these are high schoolers that they're portraying. So I just don't agree with that.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a line, and I think you can cross it.
I do. If we're completely and totally honest, sexuality is such a huge part of our existence, especially in the males. Like Steve Harvey talked about it on Family Feud. He's like, you guys don't understand how deep this goes in us. Like it is. There was one that they said, what would you do for sex or whatever it is, and if you haven't seen that clip, go watch that clip because he's so spot on with a lot of what he says. Like, ladies, you do not understand how deep it runs inside of us. We will kill for it. We will lie for it. At the end of the day, we will give our life for it. You don't understand. And he gets mad at some of the contestants when they're like, your wife gave you that answer, didn't? Yeah. Ain't no one want no crying man on top of them. What are you doing? And I just, it is such a big part of who we are, and sometimes I feel like we desensitize ourselves to it because of, first of all, it used to be so taboo to talk about it, and now it's so in your face that how do you get away from it?
I guess it's the same thing of the internet. It's the content's going to be there, and it's going to get the masses. It's going to be hard not to. I know people that literally tell me, like, I skipped the sex scenes in Game of Thrones. I go, if you're watching it with, like, kids, I get it. Mm-hmm. But, like...
as the series went on, the sex scenes seemed to diminish.
Yeah, they did.
Like, it was really the first 2 seasons where it was, like, over-sexualized, and then it kind of tapered off.
Yeah, and I immediately get it. And some of those were for a reason, but I get it. Like...
the first one was super important.
Yeah, and, like... again, if it's to plot and to tell the story, I get it. But I just knew adults that were saying that. And I was like, because it's spooky to you? Like, why?
Well, a lot of people grew up being told that it's not okay to talk about sex.
Where did that get us? Where does that get people?
I don't know.
You got to have these conversations until just in a respectful and educational way.
Right.
Where you learn the right thing and you don't have to try to discover it along the way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with that. Yeah. I'm just saying there are people that are like, especially in my house, good God, don't talk about sex. Trying to have that conversation. I had that conversation after I was already in the world and people were like, oh, he's done what he's done. And then my grandmother would open up and talk to me about sex and whatever. And then when you hear about it from her, you're like, Nana.
Elvis was a thing.
Elvis was a thing.
Like, it wasn't like, him shaking on the stage was, no, it was, I remember there was a clip I saw on Elvis because I love Elvis, The Beatles is my favorite music, everything ever, but I like Elvis. He's really good. And his story was just so complex. And there's a new trailer out for a movie of his that's called TCB. That's his, motto. And it was
what does that stand for?
This is his band, Taking Care of Business.
Oh.
That was his band too. But Elvis's life was just so different and isolated. The Beatles had 3 other people. They had each other. Mm-hmm. James Brown had people. Elvis was the first to really get that big, and he was alone.
Except for the Colonel.
There was a Rat Pack. Yeah, but the Colonel wasn't.
He was devious.
When you get him on uppers and downers like he was, and that's what it was. They're from Memphis. It wasn't like they had George Martin to say, Beatles, come over here, stop kids. And they had Apple. He had Memphis. He was great, but I don't think that he could really get his life together like he should have.
Right.
And he didn't have John or Ringo to say, don't
do this.
Hey, he's putting you on uppers and downers. That's probably not good before every show. But, it eventually cost him his life, but it just shows
Now, hang on. So do you think that actually cost him his life, or do you buy into the theory that he was actually helping Nixon getting ready to take down the mob?
I think it was the first one, but
You think so?
yeah.
I've seen no, I've seen some evidence that points to the second, and then you start to kind of go on and going, all right, it's a little far fetched, it's a little weird, but I could see where the case can get made for it.
I haven't seen this theory, so I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, there's a movie out there called Elvis and Nixon where
Yeah.
Michael Shannon plays Elvis, and it's obviously a fictionalized version of some of the accounts that happened, but Elvis, I guess, was very fascinated by law enforcement and always wanted to be a police officer.
Uh-huh.
And so the story is, I can't tell you how much of it's true because I didn't do my own research. George Norrie, shout out to George Norrie because he has the show at midnight called Coast to Coast All Night, and he's had several guests that come on and talk about this. And the story goes that Elvis and Nixon had a meeting where Nixon said, you want to be a cop? I'm going to give you a chance to help me with a big score. We're going to take down the mob in Las Vegas. And Elvis was like, what do you mean? And so he deputized Elvis as a special enforcer. And then members of his band were actually Secret Service agents. And on their off time, they were collaborating and getting all this information. And apparently 3 days before Elvis was going to turn state's evidence to Nixon, this whole big case file is when he died.
That is interesting.
And the way that he died, like the way that his body was found, and there was an open window near the bathroom, but not in the bathroom. And then there's other things that happened that point to there could have been a mob hit on Elvis, but you had to keep it quiet.
I didn't know about that. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's something to research. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't care because the mob is a scary group of people. But
Hey, Mom, Leon's not saying anything bad about you.
I didn't say anything about the mob, man. But I mean, did you ever see The Irishman?
Yeah,
That's a fantastic
it was
movie.
very good.
But it also shows you how long that voter fraud's been going on.
Yeah.
And voter tampering's been going on. And I know that's a hot button topic these days, but rigging an election, not a new thing.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday that said that Russia now accepts electronic online voting. So that's good to know that
Russia will do that?
voter tampering won't happen through electronics.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean,
I think he's won his last election, I think 97%.
because they live in a constant state of fear.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, Alexander Ovechkin's going through that right now because everyone's like, well, why won't you denounce Russia? Mainly because he has a family back there and he wants to see them again? Could be my theory. I mean, if you say anything bad against Putin, I mean, this is the same guy who at 70 years old plays in the Russian League All-Star game and scores 7 goals every year.
Yeah.
Because the goalies are too afraid to block his shots. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know what you mean.
because, did you remember when the Olympics was in Russia and they had the pyrotechnic little whatever, something the pyrotechnicians didn't go off right? The next day, the pyrotechnician was found dead in an alleyway.
Oh,
Oh,
that's not good. A sudden
This is the
sickness,
kind
a
of people
sudden
that you-
illness like that is.
yeah, a suicide because he
Yes.
was distraught over his mistake is the reasoning was given. That's not fishy at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say like these strange deaths, like in the Godfather, where he's like you're gonna like because they killed his son Sonny, and they're at the table, and he's like, why are you not gonna you're gonna come back at us for that? And he goes, no, I won't have any vengeance against you. And he goes, why are you being so modest? And he goes, because I have another son, and he's in Italy hiding away because of all this stuff. And he's supposed to come back. Now, I'm a superstitious man. And if he gets struck by an assassin's bullet, or if he hangs himself in a jail cell, or if lightning were to strike him, I'm going to blame someone at this table. So he goes,
Right.
So sometimes you have to just think maybe something else is afoot.
Yeah.
Someone's at hand.
I just, I mean, There's a lot that happens in this world that makes you go. I mean, speaking of weird coincidences, Cincinnati, you're a Bengals fan, yeah?
Uh-huh.
How'd you feel about the Super Bowl?
I wanted Mahomes to be in it. I'm also born in Kansas City. so-
Okay, but now that the Bengals and the Rams were in it, how did you feel about that?
I wanted the Bengals to win, of course.
Wasn't it weird how all of a sudden the Bengals forgot how to play football in the last 4 minutes of that game?
It was a bad strategy. It wasn't the last 4 minutes of that game. They had to defend, but they were doing it horribly.
Not
and they
not
just,
when I'm talking about the fact that they had 2 penalties the entire game, and all of a sudden
They
they
got
had
a bunch.
8 penalties in less than 30 seconds or whatever it was.
They had to figure out not how to give away a easy touchdown because their quarterback couldn't get another touchdown. They knew that, and they knew their defense was crap, and they knew that the other team was going to gain
Okay.
momentum and win the game.
So let's throw another little piece in this, right? If the Bengals would have won the Super Bowl, the sports books, who are now partners with the NFL, would have lost something like $580 million. But if the Rams were to have won, they would have profited $158 million.
Listen, I can go in here and talk about every Super Bowl,
But this is the first one where they've actually been partnered
Yeah.
with the sports book.
yeah. But also, like, do you remember Russell Wilson's throw?
Interception again. Yeah.
1 yard?
Yeah, I totally remember that. And I thought then that Super Bowl made me look at the NFL as kind of like professional wrestling.
Okay.
The players aren't necessarily in on it, but the league definitely has an agenda. I mean, isn't it weird 9/11 happens, the Patriots win the Super Bowl? Isn't it weird Katrina happens and the same year the Saints win the Super Bowl? Isn't it strange how some of these things isn't it weird how the line in the Super Bowl is the Rams are a 3.5 point favorite and they just so happen to win by 4? Isn't that just a little convenient, especially the way in which they did win, because it was a lot of penalties in a very short period of time that kept giving them chance after chance after chance. I'm not saying Matthew Stafford was in on it. I'm not saying Joe Burrow had anything to do with it. But the league, you can't tell me there wasn't some conversation somewhere between a sports book guy going, hey, by the way, since we're partners now, if the Bengals win, we stand to lose almost $1 billion. Are you going to cover our losses or what's going to happen here? You're telling me those conversations didn't happen? Because if I'm partnered with me and you are partners on something and I'm about to get shredded, you don't think I'm going to come to you and going, I'm going to need a little help here.
Well, a very smart person told me once never to bet on a human being. So, where the lace is outer end.
The only type of gambling I do anymore is when I play poker, and that's very limited. Are we playing for Jolly Ranchers? Is that what's happening? Okay, I'm in. Jolly Ranchers, I can afford that.
Jolly Ranchers are good. The blue raspberry.
Well, they're easy to bet with, too, because you got different colors, and they're all wrapped up, so there's no, like, coronavirus seepage.
Yeah, I'll take my 4th booster. I'll take the 4th one.
I'm actually medically exempt. I can't get one.
Oh.
I have an ultra rare autoimmune disorder that says nope, no shot for you.
Okay. We play it safe, I guess.
I mean, I got to the point where it's like, you know what? I can either sit in my house and hide in fear, or I can just go live my life. And I've had COVID a couple times. I got over it. And people are going to be like, ooh, Wedge, you just endangered people around you. I'm like, you know what? I don't know what to say.
I think it's best to play it safe. It's best to do what the CDC says. And they're not asking a lot, you know.
Wear a mask, go outside, stay apart.
Yeah, and now they say we don't even have to do the mask mandate here. So I think they're on the up and up. And it's it's just to be safe out there. Because the thing is real and it's hurting people and it's killing people. And
I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
Not at all. But I also thought at one point in time, like, if I'm going to die from it, I want to die in my own terms from it. You know?
I mean, it brings up the conversation of a lot of things, with what you can do with your own with that and how exposed you are and everything. But honestly, I think I don't even want to say the words towards the end of this. But towards the end of this, I think we're gonna start to normal out and remember what it was before. You know, it's been a long time, but I think it's gonna go away eventually.
Well, one thing I've noticed is how much people, again, what the reason this whole thing got started is because being a food server for as long as I was, watching people as the pandemic became what it was, how hateful they just got to each other and how horrible. I mean, even walking through, because I met you because you work at a retail store and I work for the same retail store, but in a third-hand outlet. Even walking through there, some people are just like, man, you're really complaining about that right now? Like, that's whatever. There's bigger things than your little problem with your bananas or the whatever it is you're bringing back.
People are going to say that about anything, though. I was looking at reactions to MLK dying the same day, and like it was the same thing. Like they were just like it wasn't even like a hateful person. They were like, "That's." Most people were like, "Really? Oh, I mean, that's pretty sad. Like he was a good guy. Okay, I've got to do my kid." Like like they're busy with their lives, but still, like some were very distraught, of course, and some were just like that. Nobody was mad, or they all were sad in their own way. Like if someone told me like a horrible new thing happened, I would be shocked. But I've been through a few things in my own lifetime where you're like, that's just another crazy thing. But they saw JFK die, and I'm sure that shocked everybody. I know it shocked my grandmother.
Well, I think the big difference between those two, though, is one happened live on television and one did not. I mean, back in the 60s, you're talking about, again, there wasn't a lot of media outlets. There wasn't a lot of people doing whatever. And to have a president get shot live on television, whoa.
I mean, to have a president being shot always is
right.
Insane. And you're like, because think about it, like, was it McKinley, Lincoln? That's it?
There have been 4 assassinations in our
presidency?
History. Yeah.
Well, JFK,
Grover Cleveland.
Cleveland, McKinley, and I guess Lincoln.
Mm-hmm. And do you know the only person to ever see 3 of those 4 was Lincoln's kid?
Huh. Wow.
He was around every president when it happened. And it got to the point where they were so superstitious that they asked him, please stay away from the president.
You know, I wouldn't invite him to my inauguration.
The only one he didn't see was JFK's because he was passed by then.
That's crazy.
But he saw Lincoln's, he saw McKinley's, and he saw Cleveland's.
That's crazy.
And it was after Cleveland. Actually, Grover Cleveland, if I remember correctly, he was assassinated at a train station. And
I think so.
Lincoln's kid was walking towards him because they had a meeting that was going to happen, and the assassin shot him from behind. And it was that assassination that they would go, you know what? Could you please stay away from the president?
Well, it's just crazy to see how many things cross, like there's a famous picture of, I think, an 18-year-old, or at least he's not like a little kid, Bill Clinton shaking the hand of running for office, JFK. And you're just like, I'm one handshake away from him.
Birds of a feather, man. I mean, you ever play that 7 Steps to Kevin Bacon game?
Yeah, I think I'm one.
1 step to Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
What's your 1 step?
He came to the film scene, and I know someone that saw him, so I shook his hand. So.
All right. Mine was 4, I think. I'd have to go back and double check. And the only way I can say that is I'd have to go back and double check either David Evans' filmography or Carrie Elwes' filmography, because I'm pretty sure one of those two have worked with him at some point in time.
Well, wouldn't that make it 2?
Maybe. Well, so I met... Yeah, maybe it's only 2. At most, I'm 4. Because you would have to... So then you look at the filmography, and if they haven't worked with them, I'm sure someone they've worked with has worked with them. So eventually you'll get there, but at most, I'm 4 steps away.
I'm thinking you're 2.
Maybe.
Yeah. If we weren't already time for this, I would say
Well, we got all kinds of time.
I could just think about it because you give me 4 more seconds. I think I got it.
All right.
Oh, I'm so close to it. I just know that he was in Princess Bride with Robin Wright, and Robin Wright was in.
Was she in Mystic River?
That sounds right, but I'm thinking of something Marvel because he was in the new First Class movie, X-Men First Class. So anybody in that movie connects to Robin Wright, and there you go. I think there is someone, but I can't pin it. But yeah, I just know him too. I think he may be 3.
All right. So, like I said, at most, I'm 4 away.
Yeah, at most.
So I've already connected to Kevin Bacon that way.
And I think I'm only like a couple of handshakes from like Well, I wouldn't say Lincoln. I know only a few from JFK. Like,
I'm trying to think of how I'd even get back to JFK. I don't think I could.
really? You ever shook anyone's hand?
Oh, I've shooken lots of people's hands.
Like famous people?
Well, I mean, not just in passing, no.
Ah,
If I have a chance to meet a celebrity, I meet a celebrity.
yeah.
You know,
I always go. for it.
Are you a fanboy or like do you get kind of nervous and
I haven't met one yet where I would, but I think I will be okay. I
like
think I'll be
if you knew
this.
Peyton Manning was going to be at the Hy-Vee in Cedar Falls like he was a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, would you totally a fanboy? I would have.
I would try to be friends with him for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Here's my business card. Here's my.
See, I wouldn't even do
email.
that. I would be like, "What's your Snapchat?" Pull
I
that
don't
phone out.
think Peyton Manning is giving that out.
Oh, well, we can have a conversation.
You
and
can have a
then we'll see-
conversation,
we'll
try
see
and
if we-
convince him.
Yeah,
Try and convince him that this is okay.
I'll be like, let's go over to that Wendy's. We'll throw
But again,
some chicken wings.
I have
nuggets.
a lot of things. I'm mentally just not all there, so I've came to terms with that, like the autism mixed with the BPD, with the DID, and with all the other stuff. Like, I'm just a walking head case. So yeah, I'm a little different.
What's to lose?
Actually, it's weird because I've been told by several people that it takes about 2 weeks to really see through all that to really like me. If you hung around with me, like I rub people the wrong way initially.
I think you're cool.
Oh, I appreciate that. I think you're great as well.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we did this.
Yeah.
This isn't exactly how I thought this conversation was going to go, but it's all right.
I mean, I'm open to talk about anything. I want to get to why you don't like LeBron, but I think
I mean, it comes down to
Space Jam 2. Just
no, it's not even Space. It was before Space Jam 2 even. Like when you turn yourself into something that's just not humanly possible, there's a big problem with that.
Oh, he did it.
But he's not real.
He's supposed to be a linebacker.
But he's not real. He's not a real person. Like, well, he's alive and he's whatever, but he's not a real person. Like, it's all brand. It's all
What was Kobe?
money.
What was Kobe? Was he
Kobe
didn't see
had
his family? And they
Kobe had
understood.
moments of himself though that he would let. I mean, Kobe made an Oscar award-winning film.
Yeah,
Kobe was an amazing. He would write, he would draw, he would do these other things.
but I mean during the league.
I'm not. That's what I'm saying is like LeBron is not just the league. Like everything LeBron does is so cold and calculating that it's not even a person anymore.
It's the same thing, but like different. Like he's also making money and having that drive, but Kobe had that Mamba mentality where he was just practicing all the time.
right.
So like they're just doing the same thing. He's just doing
No, it's
70% practice and then 30%
so different
media.
though because there's the mindset of it too. Right, Michael Jordan. If we look at Michael Jordan's career,
Yeah,
and we look at LeBron James' career,
yeah.
LeBron says that he doesn't want to be Michael. He wants to be his own person, right?
Uh-huh.
But he's constantly comparing himself to Michael
How could
in
you
his
not?
own little ways. What's that?
How could you not?
Well, I mean, whatever. But the moment that he goes, well, I'm the greatest basketball player of all time, boy, you better back that up for a second because that is a loaded statement an egotistical statement, and it also shows lack of respect for everyone who got you to where you are. All the players that came before you, all the people that made the league what it is.
Why can Mike say it then?
I don't think Mike's ever said it, has he?
No. But
All right then.
Why can other people say it about Mike then?
Other people, but see, that's other people saying it, right?
Then why can't he?
Why can't Michael say it? That he's
Why can't LeBron say it if other people can say it?
Because there's no proof that he is.
He wants to be though.
Okay, that's great. You can want to be, but that doesn't mean that you are. There's a difference.
His stats are pretty good.
Stats don't tell everything.
I don't think he's the best of all time, but he's the highest points of all time.
Again,
he's
statistics can
go
be
on 5
inflated.
rings soon. I don't think he's gonna get his 5th. I think he has 4.
I mean, I think it's incredible what he's done with his career, right?
Yeah.
I think it's that, what was it, 9 NBA finals in a row?
Yeah.
Okay, but the problem is that when you say that you did that, you forget that there was 11 other guys around
What
you.
happened when he left those teams?
Okay, let's get to that. So what happens when he leaves those other teams? Well, what happens when he gets there? Let's start there. The first thing that's happened in 3 of the 4 situations, head coach gets fired, GM gets fired. He takes over with his demands of the players he wants to play with, right? So then when he leaves, what are you left with? Desolation.
Second year, it's all about the chips. Second year of he got the ring. Second year of the Lakers, he got the ring.
Who built that team, though?
First year of Cavs, he got the ring.
First year with the Cavs? No, he didn't.
Was it second? No, I mean the second time around.
Yeah.
Was that the first or second year he got the ring?
Okay.
Maybe third.
So he's
Something like
been to
that.
what? 9 finals?
Something. Yeah, I think he's
9
been
or
to
10,
9.
and he's
I'm
won
not sure,
4.
though. It's hard to win a chip, especially in the Steph Curry
Jordan
time.
did it 6 times.
Against who?
Who did LeBron do it against?
Also, Jordan didn't win it in his first 4.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, it's different.
LeBron didn't either.
LeBron didn't have Steph Curry.
What does Steph Curry got to do with it?
No, I mean, Michael didn't have Steph Curry up against him. Like, the times have changed. Defense was harder back then, but, like, it's a little different now. I don't know I think the athletes are better now, but I feel like it's even.
And depending on what you're talking about, center play, absolutely, because the centers back then were just big walls.
Yeah.
Right. Dikembe Mutombo was as great as he was not ever going to be considered a world class athlete. He was not. He was not like Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
You put those two 1 by 1, Towns is going to win, right?
60 points.
Right. But he did his job. What his job was supposed to be was block the basket and be a movable object. That's what he was supposed to be. That's why when guys like when Ewing and Olajuwon and Robinson all came in, everyone's like, oh crap, we got to contend with these guys who are now fast, who can shoot from distance and strong. They literally changed how that center position was played. But when you, again, say that you are the best and you claim that, you're slapping every guy in the face who's ever played before you. I mean, you think that LeBron's better than Magic Johnson?
I think you're not in the NBA unless you think you're the best basketball player.
I don't know if I agree with that either, but
You're-
because there's guys in there who know that, like Steve Kerr probably never thought he was gonna be the best player ever.
But he was the best in his circle, and he went up to the NBA being, I'm really good.
He's really good. Yeah.
You're okay.
I can contribute to the team.
Kerr's not Kobe, LeBron, or Mike, but LeBron, Mike, and Kobe are in the same conversation that Steve Kerr is not in.
Right.
So
then
these
you
guys
just
can
validated
say, and Shaq too. Shaq himself would say he's saying like, why would you play in the NBA unless you think you're going to be as good as Mike or beat him? Everybody's trying to beat Mike.
And I understand that, but I also think there are guys that say, you know what? I know that that's not my game. I have to be who I am, and I can contribute to a team.
Yeah, and I think LeBron is one of the best passers, and he's all about making it a team effort. Truly, I think so. But like,
I think it's all about him, man.
Nah, he's.
It may seem that way, but think about it. Every pass that he makes is an assist he gets.
You think he's going for the triple double every day?
I'm thinking that he wants. Yes, I think that he wants to get back and say, all right, I outshined everybody else. Look what I did, as opposed to, hey, you know what? We won this game as a unit, as a team. We did this. There's a different mentality there.
I think he knows winning is the most important thing and he wants to get a chip. But also, I feel like, I think you're right on some level. Ego plays into it. And I don't think that any of these nice players are as nice as we think they are.
Well, I'm not saying there are nice players. I'm just simply saying that there are people who understand that. Like Michael Jordan's a jerk. Like we all know that, right?
Yeah, but
Like, I mean, how could you not be?
like he's not evil, but is he the nicest person? No. I mean,
Did you watch the Last Dance?
Yeah.
That was a Michael Jordan produced, like,
Yeah.
you know that whatever was said in that Michael Jordan had a hand in.
Yeah,
Nothing was going to
the
get
truth. Yeah.
nothing was going to get said that Michael Jordan wasn't going to approve of.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, LeBron's very much the same way, right?
Yeah.
But when the question I always ask people, and this is my defining question with it all, is if you had 18 seconds left on the clock, you're down by 2, game 7 of the finals, you got a choice. Michael, Kobe, or LeBron, who's getting the ball?
That is a hard question. Who would you say?
Probably Kobe.
It'd be Kobe or Mike for me.
All right. So the fact that, and everyone I've asked this question to, I would say LeBron gets maybe 12% of the vote. Because in those moments, do you really trust him?
I
Do
think
you trust him as much as you trust Kobe or Mike?
Kobe's a god. Sorry, Mike's a god. He's a god. Like you don't want that ball in his hands, no matter what. He's a god. He will do the impossible. Kobe's scary. Kobe's human, but he's scary. Mamba mentality. He's like Hercules. The guy just is something else. And then LeBron, you don't want the ball in his hands. He can hit, like he's been known to do the impossible too. Like he will float and hit backboard, high backboard, and float that in. He will do the impossible. It's less likely than Kobe. So I can't say that. That's the only reason why I can't. They're both doing great, chasing a god, and that's why I think it's got to be Mike.
See, the thing to me was that when I remember game 6 against the Jazz,
Yeah.
when Jordan gets the ball and as soon as he gets it, that quick pass to Paxson, and who's there? No one. Paxson drills the 3 to win it.
Yeah.
You know, like LeBron may make that pass and he may make that floater, but how many times have you also seen him throw that huge brick up there? You know, like
I'd still pass him the ball in the last 2, but
I don't know, man. I would rather just take the ball myself and shoot the 3 and see what
really,
happens. Yeah, why not?
I would give it to LeBron.
I would.
LeBron, if you're listening, we're both with Ohio. It's cool. I'd
We're
give
both
it
with
to
Ohio. No, Ohio's. I like the people of. I
you.
had
Hey, the chili.
I got some PTSD from Ohio. I can't
Oh.
handle it. Multiple times.
I survived the derecho here, so
The derecho was something else. People who didn't live through it don't know.
they don't know.
That was wild.
It was wild, and there was still there was deaths. There was 2 people that died, and that's very sad. It could have been worse though.
Oh yeah,
And in other places it is worse. With even just
140 mile an hour
tornadoes.
winds that come ripping through your city.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that.
Never.
Like driving home was and the power of course was out forever, but just driving and seeing what can be done in minutes to an hour. Unexpectedly, it was supposed to be 10% of participation that day. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I had a friend that lived over by kind of where you work at, and she wanted me to go over and get all of her frozen food out of her refrigerator and all that 'cause there's no power. And I remember driving to Cedar Rapids, and normally where there was city lights and it was the glow, just nothing. And having to go through her apartment using a flashlight, I was I felt like I was in an episode of The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Me too.
what is this?
They stole my tent.
They stole your
They
tent?
stole my tent. There was I got a tent at Walmart. It was a 5-person tent. It's a big one. Not one of those small ones. It was a big size one. I got it for $20. It was the best deal ever. I was so excited. I was
And someone stole it.
Someone just took it. I was because the electricity was down, so they just opened the garage and they took it. And I was oh, why looters? I live in a great place too. It was like an apartment where it was underground, driving, and like they were just like, let's loot. And I didn't
God,
know,
looters.
I know. But it was really weird that day. Like it was completely dark. The sky was beautiful. You could see every star in the sky.
Oh, I know, right?
But I hate the view now. There used to be so many trees, and now I can see downtown almost anywhere I go.
Lost 70% of the canopy at Cedar Rapids. There's videos. If anyone's interested, go. There's videos on YouTube of. There's one guy that was filming it in his shack or in his machine shed, and he's under a desk, and you can see him just looking at the roof, and the roof is, and it just goes flying away.
I literally, because I want to hear where you were during it, because I was walking and I was like, man, it's kind of coming down. Because like it started just like that.
You're right.
Like you see it, and you're
So
like,
you
oh,
were
it's
you were out
storming.
walking?
I was like at I was like at a store, and I was just walking, and then like you hear people, because like you're doing your own thing. You're like,
Right.
I'll get in and out, and I was walking, and you saw like the rain come down, and it was like, oh, they say it's a bad storm. I was like, oh, that's kind of, it's a little funny to hear a big storm. And then like you start to hear like it sounds like metal, like just getting hit. You're like, that's a little rough. And then you start to see it move, and you're like, I've never seen, I've never seen the ceiling do that. And you're like, oh wow. And then of course holes opened up, and it was like a whole thing. Where were you?
I was what was I working? I was sleeping when about half hour, 45 minutes before the storm hit. And my dog woke me up. And she woke me up, and I thought it was the middle of the night because it was so dark. I was like, what in the world? And I looked out and I said, are we getting ready to have a tornado? Because it was like that green colored sky. And I said, all right, well, you obviously need to go outside. I'll let you out. And I opened the door, and she looked at me, and she looked at the sky and looked back at me, and then she sat down. And I said, no, you woke me up. You're going outside. I took her ball, and I threw it out there. And I've never seen that dog run so fast. She ran, got her ball, ran back in the house, went into the kennel, and would not come out. And I was like, what is wrong with you? It's just a thunderstorm. It's going to be fine. And so I looking back, this was the dumbest thing I could have done. I shut the screen door, but the screen door, I left the screen open.
Oh no.
That actually saved me, because if I would have had it closed, the pressure would have probably popped everything. But because I had that flow, the pressure didn't build up. But I sat there and I was like, well, that's interesting. And then the rain starts coming down. I'm like, okay, I like a good storm. Let's see what happens here. And then next thing you see is the trees just doing this, and the rain's going sideways. And I'm like, and then you hear the wind just whipping by. I'm like, I have never seen a storm like this. And then my neighbor's trampoline came flying by my house, and actually it did damage to 4 other people's property. It came flying through the yard. It went into my neighbor's garage and actually embedded a beam of it into the garage. And then it went down and hit someone's boat, hit another house, and then ended up pushed up against someone else's garage, where it basically crushed the garage.
That could have been people.
It could have been people.
Unbelievable.
And I just sat there, and I was just, luckily Vinton had been, not luckily, but luckily Vinton had been hit by straight line winds a few years beforehand. So all the trees are basically taken out. So there wasn't a lot of tree damage I lost all my trees during that. So this time around, I didn't have any trees fall on my house or nothing like that. So I didn't have any property damage that way. But I know a lot of people that you saw driving through Cedar Rapids, it looked like a bomb went off. Like there was power cables everywhere.
Couldn't drive anywhere.
There were trees that had crushed RVs and cars.
Trees
and
in
stuff.
houses, cars
Yeah.
in houses.
Yeah, I had never seen anything like that.
I remember just like calling my dad on the way home and just being like, there's another tree in a house, there's another car in a house, there's another one, there's another one. Mm-hmm. It's like a bad DJ Khaled song, another one. It was just bad.
Yeah, that was wild.
And like, I always ask people like what they were doing on 9/11. Like I was in second grade, so it was a beautiful day. I remember,
Did you guys watch it on television as it happened?
No, I think the teachers got called out, and like you could tell they were talking about something. We were left in the room for a bit, and then I think they looked at it and they were like, It's gonna be an early day." It was a weird day. I mean, it was a beautiful day outside. It was a Tuesday, I remember, or something. I think it was a Tuesday. It was a beautiful day, but it was a long time ago.
9/11 for me. I was working as a bouncer at a strip club, and I had gotten to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I used to leave the TV on just to have noise. And I remember hearing like the initial reports, like the World Trade Center's on fire and all that. And I kind of like opened my eye a little bit. I was like, what is going on? And I happened to just wake up just as the second one hit. And I was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
What is happening? And then you hear about the one that hit the Pentagon, and
that second hit,
that's what solidified it.
like as an adult, I couldn't even comprehend, because you kind of can now, and you see it and you can get how you would feel, but understanding, like everybody understanding this is not a movie, and we're in this is
a real thing.
Yes, not an accident, and this is only happening in movies. Like, what's going on? Like, there's actually someone trying to hit us.
And I also remember how unified we were for about the first 4 or 5 months afterwards. Like how nice we were to each other and how people were going out of their way to help each other.
Did you buy a flag?
I did not. I already had one.
I remember how many flags there were at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we bought a big one. I remember that day, like going home and like what that night looked like, because my mom worked in a government building at the time, and like it was just a whole like War on Terror was on the scroll, and it was huge in red. Like before that, it was like you would see Seinfeld or the Winter Olympics or whatever. But to see War on Terror literally just stuck there for days, and then that crawl and just the replaying of everything and interviews and New York looking like it did, and you're like, and they're like, somebody hit America. And America's never been hit by any other country besides British and France and Spain, but like really, it's never really been touched.
No one's ever tried to invade us like that.
And that day, it became very apparent something was going on.
I mean, did you ever see Red Dawn, the original one with Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen? The new one was garbage. The new one was come on, in comparison.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. I'm gonna give that a solid 5 out of 10. Not great.
Okay, an average movie. Is that because Chris Hemsworth was in it? And
Yes, it is.
yeah, all right. And another thing, people are like, well, men sexualize women. If women don't sexualize men, then why do all those superhero movies have guys walking on no shirt on all the time?
I don't know. Everybody's got to be. If you're a hero, you got to save people. You got to have muscles.
You got to do it without your shirt on? Is that what you got to do?
If I looked like that and whatever, I would.
You could look like that. You got a nice frame going there.
When the weather gets better, we'll see. And then
do you work out a lot?
I try to, but I don't have the time. I'm usually very busy. But
I need to get into the gym.
The gym is a nice place. It's very therapeutic.
Gotta start pumping that iron.
Gotta pump the iron.
I gotta get rid of this. I'm tired of being a blimp. Walking, talking blimp.
Think you're doing pretty great.
Nope. I am way overweight. My doctor yelled at me the other day when I went in.
So, like, actually, because I've talked about this, I would love to put this on mic. I'll let you can talk about your doctor, but I can't wait to talk about what I'm going to talk about next.
My, no, I want to hear yours. I went into my cardiologist, and he is from somewhere in the Middle East. Just as soon as he walked in, I'm like, oh, yeah. And he looked at me and he goes, oh, the first words out of his mouth, not, hi, Mr. Anderson, oh, sorry, Mr. Stevens, or anything like that. It was, oh, you're a very large man.
What?
Nice to meet you too, Doc.
I know.
Like, he's like, you're very obese. You need to start, like, I don't know how you get through your existence. And then he sits down the computer and he goes, well, let's go over your results. And he starts going, clicking and all that. And he goes, well, your bad cholesterol's high. Well, that makes sense. You're very overweight. Your good cholesterol's low. Again, you're overweight. So that makes sense. And I was like,
Dude.
wow, man. And then my doctor, she, last time I went in to see her, she's like, so you are aware that you're 112 pounds over your ideal weight, right? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, she's like, Wedge, you're pushing 300.
Oh,
You need to, we need to, with your age, we need to think about, you don't need to lose a lot, but let's get some of this weight off of you because as you get older, it's going to create problems.
See, I feel like there's better ways to approach the issue. Like, I don't know. I feel like some medical professionals could just use with a little more niceness or
Oh, my favorite was Dr. Meeker when he did my colonoscopy and he gave me my results and he goes, you should have taken better care of yourself.
I know.
Thanks, doc.
You know, I'm gonna get right on that. I'm gonna get on going back in time, back to the futuring myself, and then
When I die, I'm going to ask if I can have a reset and I'll start over again and see if we can get this right this time.
it's 94. I get to stop 9/11 and eat a little better.
Can I go back to 42 and take out Hitler? I mean, what?
Would you? 42?
Take out Hitler?
Yeah, I would.
Here's what I have to say about that. I think that we get so caught up in would I take this person out? It'll change the world. But
Yeah.
would it?
Yeah,
I mean, would someone else not take their place eventually or whatever?
they would.
I think that as horrible as there are things that happen in this life, and there are a lot of horrible things that happen, those horrible things happen, and we can either look at it as the great sadness it is, and the tragedy and all that, or we can say, what did we learn from it? How do we get better from this? And what can we take away from it that salvage something? Without those negative things that happen in your life, you don't have any way of handling problems in the future. I'm not wishing for 6.5 million Jews to die. That was a horrific thing.
Uh-huh.
But it also showed how ugly we can be to each other. And it also says we need to do better. Not that dropping a nuclear bomb on Japan was any better.
No.
That shouldn't have happened. But, and I think that's what's happening now is we haven't had any kind of major devastation in so long that we just don't think it's going to happen. We don't remember what it's like to have that kind of mass destruction happen. And unfortunately, with what's happening in Ukraine, I think that we're on the brink of something bad happening.
Well, I think with the situation in Ukraine, it's a lot of talks with NATO. Russia did not want Ukraine to join NATO because they don't want position that close to the capital of Russia, and Ukraine is. So they retaliated against that. And that's what that was. But now it's all, what is it now? Yeah. And, you know, a lot of people are like, no, this is just another Hitler or World War II or another World War III going to be. And I don't know about that. Anything could happen, but I don't think it's another Hitler sort of situation. It's just
I don't think
retaliation against NATO.
I don't think it's going to be a Hitler situation. I don't think this is a race-oriented slaughter of people. I think it is a power grab, and I do think that Putin is drunk with power and has the resources to do whatever he wants, and no one's going to stop him. And he's showing that.
I hope that cooler heads prevail, and I hope that we've been really nervous about this sort of thing before, especially in October with Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis. I think we're going to be okay overall, and things will work out because it's a social media age. Nobody knows what's going to happen next.
Well, no one actually knows what's real anymore either. I mean, you go onto Twitter, how many people on Twitter are actually people and how many people are bots
Bots.
that are
Yeah.
programmed to say, I mean, there was one day I wanted to do an experiment. And so I posted something and then I kind of just watched, not so much because no one really listens to me on Twitter. Like I have like 60 some followers. I don't get, like I tweet something. Very rarely do I get a response, but I did follow a link that someone posted and I tagged on to it. And then I started just kind of watching the responses after that. And there were so many responses that were exactly the same that I was like, okay, you're not real. You're not real. You're not real. Because how many people are going to have the same exact response over and over and over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many of them. It's like, I mean, literally, I kept scrolling down and I probably counted 100 that were just the same 3-word responses all the way down. And I was just like, you're not a real person. You can't be, because real people just don't talk that way or think that way. You would have a little stronger statement than what you said.
And I feel like that's a reason. Like we're getting hit. Like we're getting hit. Imagine like the people that are in politics, who's hitting them and with what?
I think if I've often thought about running for president or for office, president. I'd love to be president. But I think that someone like me needs to run for president, someone who wants to reunify the country instead of just.
I don't think that it's separate.
I think it is. It's very like, especially when it like go on to dating sites. Are you single? Are you not? Or
I think this is gonna sound a little odd.
all right, go ahead.
I think we're separate as someone tells us we are.
No,
Because right now I can go. I know who hates me in this world, and I know why they hate me. It's
Who hates you?
Mississippi.
Mississippi hates you
Mississippi hates me.
because of your color.
Yeah.
I would lean more towards people in Arkansas. I don't know about Mississippi. I've only been to Mississippi twice.
There is nothing good in Mississippi.
Oh, I've stopped in. That's not true. Greg Isles is in Mississippi. He's delightful.
I think there can be great people in Mississippi. It's just a dangerous place for a lot of reasons. And I and it's the United States. I love the United States, and Mississippi is a part of that. I think it's a lot backwards. You don't know what decade it is. You don't know what decade it is sometimes down there.
I think West Virginia is that way. I've heard.
I've been to West Virginia.
A lot of horror stories about West Virginia, especially if you get in the mountains where the cops don't go.
Yeah, it's like hearing things like I don't go to rural areas.
Yeah.
Because I know the Klan exists still.
Right.
And I remember being in a room. I won't say where that room was, but I was in a room full of people that were just speaking. It was supposed to be a nice, safe place. And then they're like, one person was speaking to everyone and he said, and there's, because, George Floyd just happened and they were just talking. It just happened. So everybody had to talk about that and make everyone feel better. And we're like, oh, I don't even know. I didn't even know racism was still around. It's just crazy, because he's supposed to be the good guy. And he says, I didn't even know that. And then I have to realize, yes, it is, of course. And I have to care. And I'm like, great. We know he's going to say this. And then he goes, and I didn't even know that the Klan was still around in Iowa. And then one guy stands up and goes, yeah, it is. And I was in that same room.
Yeah. I know that the Klan exists in Iowa only because my sister, we went to Walmart at like 10 o'clock in the night, back when it was open 24 hours a day.
R.I.P.
And she had a truck that came from Texas. And, she was 16 at the time and she really liked her Texas heritage. So she had a Confederate flag on the back of her window. Not because of racism or anything like that. It was just, whatever. And like I said, my adopted brother's black. So she's been around him 100 million times. But we came out of Walmart and a Grand Dragon had left a business card in her windshield. On her windshield wiper. I think she still has the card, not because she believes in what, but because it could be actually worth something someday, valuable or whatever. But it was really interesting. And then the Ku Klux Klan actually was doing goodwill work in Vinton. Like they were cleaning up. We have a bridge out called Stony Arch, and they went out there and they repainted that from getting all of the graffiti off. And they were trying to do all these goodwill acts. And I was like, why? Why are you doing this? Like,
Yeah.
no one asked you to do this. No one, like, and I don't.
Respectfully, I don't know if I would take the help, but
Right. Well, again, it wasn't my place to say one way or the other.
Yeah,
I
not your
didn't
place.
have. I just read about it in the newspaper, and I was like, "Why is this happening?" Like,
yeah, if it's just like, but if they went to like the council and said, "Hey, it'd be really cool if we like partnered up on this," I would say maybe we'll get someone else on this. I'm pretty sure Pet Pals offered last week. We'll go with them.
yeah,
But it's all fine. I just hope that everyone's safe and whatever you're doing, just
well, no, I mean, I
for
think
each
that
other.
brings up an interesting point because we do know the Klan exists still.
Yeah.
I mean, there's truth to that. But isn't it true that there are other organizations that also exist that hate white people? Like, I know for a fact that there's members of the Black Panthers still floating around out there somewhere. And, I think that there's hate in every group, isn't there? Like, people who tell me that a person who's not white can't be racist, I call that shenanigans because,
It's ridiculous. Everybody can be horrible. We just have to try to be our best.
right.
And there's always going to be someone bad, and that's the best we can really do is just try to not be around those people,
Right.
and not give them mics. But
What are you implying? I shouldn't have a microphone? Is that
No.
what's going on here?
no, not at all.
Actually, I was asked one time if I'd have if a Ku Klux Klan member wanted to come on the show, would I deny them? And my initial reaction was yes. I think that's crossing the line. But then I was like, wait a second. If I'm censoring people from saying what they say, whether I agree with it or not, how am I any different than anyone else out there, right? Like, I understand that what they say is going to be hurtful to people, and I understand that there's going to be ramifications that are negative, but I can't just squelch their voice just because I don't agree with their lifestyle and who they are. That defeats the whole purpose of this.
Yeah. Hey, it's just gonna be what it is. Freedom of speech.
Right.
But I'm just still curious how you don't like LeBron. That
We're back to LeBron.
I still can't quite understand.
You know what?
that
If he
one.
would shave his beard, maybe I could.
He's going bald.
Stone Cold Steve Austin's bald?
Oh, but he's awesome. He's coming back out of retirement. But
Yeah.
I feel the same way. But
Some things are better just left alone. Just stay retired.
Brady.
I didn't think Brady was actually retired.
I didn't want it to be, and I didn't think he was, but I figured there's a good chance he could come back. But sometimes you gotta believe people when they say they're retired. They're retired. Retire on top.
No, he's too driven.
Yeah.
He's not the,
Indy's still very talented.
yeah. I mean, I'm a Dolphins fan, so I've hated Brady
You're a
for a long
Dolphins
time. I am a
fan?
Dolphins fan. Well, as of now, because if anything comes out that Stephen Ross is exactly what he says or Brian Flores says he is, I may have to change allegiance. I love Brian Flores. Brian Flores, I mean, when Stephen Ross came out and said that he had to choose between Brian Flores and Chris Greer, I'm like, Chris Greer is the one that gets fired. Like, what kind of general manager and draft person? He's terrible at his job. Get rid of him. Brian Flores has been given a scrap heap and almost made the playoffs 2 years in a row. So I think it's really interesting that he is now member of the Steelers organization with Mike Tomlin, who, by the way, I love Mike Tomlin.
Yeah,
I
he's
have a
pretty good.
mad respect for him.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
I love the fact that he's one of those guys that you could tell that he could rip your face off, but he's also very humble.
Like, I'm a Bengals fan. Well, I'm a lot of fans, but like I like Kansas City, but like I like them when they sucked. So like, and I grew up there. Like, it's strange for me because I grew up in football and major league places. So like, it's hard not to care about where you were. But I didn't like LeBron because he was, you know, LeBron. I just happened to grow up with him when I was living in Ohio. And
Were you heartbroken when he made the decision and went to
No.
Miami?
no, I loved his Miami years. He was cool.
But I'm
Like,
talking about the actual decision when he had the whole like televised thing with whatever reporter it was, and were you the ones out in the street burning his jersey and all
no, I
that?
remember that day though. No, I wasn't. Like, you understood what was going to happen. Like, when he left the second time, you knew. Like, when JR did what he did, you knew. Oh, well, you know. Sometimes you just know when things are going to go, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Like with Westbrook. Like, you know he's not going to be a Laker next year.
Well, and see, that's the thing that like, right now, like LeBron was really angry that the Lakers didn't do anything at the trade deadline and all that. But he's the one who handpicked the lineup. He's the one who told them to go get who they got. And he's the one that kind of put them in a hole where they couldn't get rid of these people at the trade deadline.
Who knew what happened was going to happen?
LeBron.
Well,
LeBron, again, everything he says and does is cold and calculating. And when he goes to a team, he gets the head coach fired, gets the GM fired so he can do what he wants and hand select all that. It's like a horde of locusts coming in. And when they leave, it's desolation.
he didn't expect Westbrook to Westbrook. He didn't expect it to be this
What did you think it
bad.
was going to be? The guy was already kind of looking like a little tired in Houston.
Well, that was Houston, but
And then he goes to Washington and
he did pretty well in Washington.
okay, pretty well. Is that amazing?
It's Russell Westbrook. Like,
Got a lot of in those tires, man.
yeah, but not as much as LeBron and Carmelo Anthony.
You got to remember, I don't know, man, because Westbrook was still in college while LeBron was already doing his, LeBron skipped the college years, went right to the
True,
pros.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Where Westbrook was still going through those, he still has some miles on his tires, man.
He was a teenager. LeBron was a teenager, and
And you got to remember, like, people are like KD. Well, KD played, 3 years at Texas?
yeah,
So he still has
that's true.
some tread on his tires, too.
That is true. Like, once you play college, you kind of get some years on you.
Yeah.
And LeBron got good years out of those. His college was the NBA. So was Brady. Brady was like, he was like, I went to college, but I went there to play football. That was my
Right.
degree.
And that's a dangerous mindset because you're one injury away from your life being in shambles.
But what is your life unless you try?
Well, no, I get that. I totally get that. But when you go to college, see, and this is where I run into the NIL deals, right? I run into this. Okay, if you're going to be able to sign an NIL deal for the one kid just signed one for $8 million, Texas A&M. So do you still get a scholarship? Because you shouldn't. You just signed an $8 million deal.
Are they making money on you?
You just made $8 million.
Yeah.
You are able to pay for your college then.
Where are you going?
What do you mean, where are you going?
Okay, so
That's what I'm saying. Like, there has to be some kind of, there needs to be a governing commission saying, all right, guys, listen, this is a little out of control.
people get scholarships for way less than making your the most money you'll make.
Well, no. Okay, so here's when I went to Bible college, right?
Uh-huh.
There were kids that were getting scholarships and all that. Fine. But when you go to a major university and you're getting a full ride for playing football, I understand. They're making money off of you. I get that.
A lot of money.
They're making a lot of it. And I have no problem with you going off on to a car dealership, signing autographs, making $30. That's not the point. The point is that when you are on a scholarship, you're already ahead of the curve.
Uh-huh.
And so like what? Let's say the University of Iowa has 56,000 enrolled, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. How many of those are actually football players, basketball players?
Little.
So maybe half of 1%,
Yeah,
something like that.
way even less.
All right. So everyone else that's going to that college has got student loan debt now. They have all these other bills that are piling up around them while you're going to school on a free ride. You're already, and when you come out, if nothing else happens, when you come out of college, if you've taken advantage of that, you're already you're ahead of everybody else.
Now,
So take that time, get your education, because you're one injury away from
Yeah.
your whole life just
who was that Iowa player that played in the Super Bowl not too long ago?
Tristan Wirfs. 2 years ago.
Yeah. Now, he went to Iowa, played football, and if you ask him, would he rather be in the Super Bowl or would he rather be working for Geico or whatever?
Oh, and that's a fair. I understand that. But he's also one injury away from football being gone.
I'm a bad car wreck away from never being on a podcast again. Sometimes,
Okay, but neither one of us is worth multi-millions of dollars.
yeah,
Yeah.
both of us could be after this.
I don't know. I think people are going to watch this one and go wedge. I don't know if I agree with you, man. I probably just pissed off every person I'll ever want to get on this podcast to give them that little
Listen,
statement
LeBron was great. No, for what statement?
for that college rant. But
No.
because I've been on both sides of it, right? Like
I've heard
I've seen how student athletes, like I understand the universities are taking advantage of them, and I have no problem with you signing an NIL deal. I have no problem with that. But at that point in time, then are you then allowed to double dip, take the scholarship when that scholarship could go to someone else to help better their life?
So you're saying someone, it's like you're playing for them. It's like you're doing your talent to make them money. So much money.
So much money.
So much money.
That's
And
the
you
weird
get
thing
a
about
scholarship, the same thing that a chess student can get. I'm not saying that every other student that earns a scholarship
What
is
about-
bad. I'm just saying
okay, but
they're
so-
not making their school millions.
what
upon
about
millions.
swimmers and people like that who still have to put in the same amount of time, same amount of effort, same amount of everything else that football players and everyone else has to do,
Yeah.
but their scholarship isn't going to cover a full ride. You know, their
That's up to
time
the
and
school.
training is,
I love tennis, so support your local tennis.
you know, but that's what I'm saying is that there's such a big discrepancy. And then there's an even bigger discrepancy when it comes to men and women.
Oh, even bigger, and that's horrible. Iowa women's basketball, absolutely amazing. It's
Had a
be-
great run.
It's the best to this day. Like sold out 2 weeks ago. Like
What about Iowa State women?
Yeah,
There's a chance that Iowa State and Iowa will play in the Sweet 16 against each other,
And
which
that's
is
what I'm saying.
fucking ridiculous.
KD gave shout out to women in Iowa
Caitlin Clark.
basketball. Yeah, like
I would love to have her on the show.
we need to give support to these women teams, but especially like women's basketball this year and every year. Like you know, I like Iowa basketball. I like Iowa. I'm still here. I like it, but like we really need to start.
Celebrating the women.
Yeah, because
I would rather watch women's sports than men's sports myself.
Well, it's just that way all the time. Like think about women's U.S. soccer.
Mhm.
They're always
They're
Alex
dominant.
Morgan.
They're amazing.
Like I like the men's team too, but
You ever watch
almost
women's hockey?
making it and
Ho, ho, ho.
we don't even qualify. We don't even qualify for the World Cup like at all. So it's like
We've missed it the last 2 years, I think.
yeah,
That's awful.
and we made it barely in 2010. It was a good. I liked that year, but it was like it's
And the
like,
women have won the World Cup twice now,
and the women
since the inception in 1999.
and the disrespect still of like no one sees it,
Mhm.
and there was disrespect for the WNBA and college sports too.
Do you think that though, with like the WNBA, I understand why there's a lack of interest, and not to take away from the women's players, but when you look at the NBA highlights, what is it? A lot of high flying dunks and people getting posterized and that kind of stuff. And women's basketball, you just don't see that, right? There's a lot more strategy and a lot more fun in women's basketball, and the atmosphere is incredible. There's a lot. I mean, women's athletic basketball games are way more loud than men's are
Oh yeah,
by far. So I think the atmosphere is way more electric and fun. It's not flashy. You know what I mean? It's not.
Well, let's get them. Well, let's just support it to get to
Oh,
that level
I
because
totally will.
I'm telling you,
Oh my God, that.
from men's and women's tennis.
Well, women's tennis is more interesting.
Amazing. It's just amazing.
And it's kind of nice now not to say what I'm about to say. I apologize to young ladies. But now that you have like the two most dominant players starting to push out to pasture, and you're getting fresh faces in there, and you're
With both or
well, Serena and Venus both just kind of
they're getting older and they're having families.
They're not the players they were.
Yeah, they're not. Well, I think Serena could be, but she settled down with her family.
Well, I mean, age does things to the body.
Her serve can still kill. I'll put this on record. I'm not saying it
doesn't.
She could be number one this year if she wanted.
Okay. But she's not.
Yeah, she's not.
All right, then.
Yeah. I just think,
it's nice to see new faces and see the sport grow.
Yeah, you still have many people. And I like to see the United States in there, especially. I like to see the world. I love the French players. I love all players. But I would like to see more Americans in there.
We used to have the women's golf tournament here.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped doing that.
Women's golf is great, too.
The Titan Tire Challenge.
I love golf too, so it's
I played in college. I set the state record. Not the good ones. Nope. Par for the day was 71. It was wasn't in Oakland. Where was it at? I don't even remember. It was a really bad day, but I shot a 173, which put me 102 over, had a negative 69-yard drive and a 27 on a par 5. And people who are competitive golfers know that there's no stroke limit. Like,
yeah, no.
Once you're out there, buddy, that's it. Whatever happens is what happens. My 27, I had a bad day, and I had other opposing coaches coming up to me going, "Here, you're having a rough hole," and I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, keep it up, and all you can do is smile and keep going.
Yeah, it's like. I went skating for the first time as an adult. Like, I've been ice skating, but I went like roller skating for the first time as an adult. It's a whole nother thing. It's been 20 years since I've been. So like, at least 20 years. So like, when I went, I was going and I knew I was going to go slow. And I got really good towards the end. You're speeding through. But like, when you're out there, the first circle, you have little kids skating up, "You're doing great." And it's like, you don't want to hear that. It's not going to help you get further.
When this little 4-year-old's skating past you on backwards, "You're doing good, man."
The little Tiger Woods out there on the golf courses, they're just making the poses, spinning the clubs on the way down after driving way further than you. And it's like, "You're going to do good, buddy."
Thanks, man.
It's like, thanks.
Yeah, that's why I don't golf anymore. I haven't golfed in I haven't played any sports in probably 15 years now. It's hard to believe it's been that long. I'm getting the itch to play basketball again.
It's fun.
You have to ease yourself back into it, though. Being 44 years old, man, that's a torn ACL waiting to happen.
I'm 32.
No one would ever know that. You could have said that you were 18. You have to be at least 18 to be on the show. Unless you have parental consent.
I remember 18. It was a long time ago.
I remember when I was 18, I could stay up all night, go to work the next day with no problem. Now it's like, if I don't get at least 6 hours, oofed.
It's just a whole nother thing when you get older.
They tell you these things, and you're like, nah, it's never going to happen to me. Now I play that game when I wake up like, what's going to hurt today?
Yeah, that's what everybody does, the game.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Today I woke up, my fingers are like,
Anybody that hasn't hit that time yet, it's about when you're like looking at 30, it's that game. Like, you don't believe it, but like what's gonna hurt when I wake up? No matter what you're doing, no matter how great you think you are.
How good a shape you're in. You
if
work
you're-
out 80 times a day, it doesn't matter.
Brad Pitt wakes up, like, what's gonna hurt today? Oh,
Guarantee it's his ankle or his knee.
it's
I
bad.
promise it's a.
It sucks. That exact game was told to me, and I was like, they're exaggerating. Like my brother, he just had a baby, and like he was like, oh yeah, when everybody was saying you will not sleep again, I have not slept. It's like you
Right.
do not.
Yeah, especially if you're like your partner is gone for the weekend or whatever. Oh God.
That hasn't happened yet.
Oh man, that's awful.
That has not happened yet with him. So
Yeah, that's oofed. I remember those days where she would, I'm leaving for the weekend. I'm like, what? And then
it's something else. Whenever you hear advice from older, wiser people, and you don't, you're like, I'm not gonna listen to that. And then you're like living, you're like, what? Why didn't I just listen?
yeah, it's true. All right, we've gone for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Hey, we did it.
We did it, man. Do you want another prize?
I'll look in there. I will never
Yeah.
turn down a free
Yeah,
prize.
you get 3 of them.
1, 2, and
Yeah.
I'll check out my third.
We didn't promote 61 the way that we should have because I don't have the way to do that. But if you haven't seen it, go see it. Ooh. Are you a big tattoo fan?
Oh, I'm for sure getting this.
All right, there you go. So Lefty's was nice enough to donate this to, or not, well, yeah, what? Lefty's Tattoo is, do you know anything about Lefty?
I don't.
He's absolutely amazing. I've been trying to get him to come on to the show and do his bit too, because he goes into prisons and talks to prisoners about how to change their life and how to rehabilitate when they get out. Because he has had kind of a self-inflicted rough road, And he actually started, I just saw the post, he started Lefty's Tattoos with $1,500 from his tax refund and has grown it into this really big tattoo parlor. So it's really cool to see him be successful and all that. He's a really nice guy. He's kind of scary looking, like not tattoo, like he's just grumpy and scary. Like I was very frightened the first time I talked to him, but he's a very nice person. And I promise that he'll be the first person that gives me a tattoo if I ever get one. So you can have the $50 Lefty's gift certificate, and that will go towards your next tattoo or first tattoo or piercing or whatever it is you want to do. Do you have
thank you.
tattoos?
Yeah.
How many do you have?
5.
Holy smokes.
They're not bad. You should really get one.
You hide them. You must hide them well. I've never seen you with a tattoo.
No, I've got this arm one.
Do you?
It's not the greatest tattoo.
Oh my goodness.
It's sentimental, but
That's
okay. It's not actually sentimental, but thank you. All right, so I'm going to spend this $50 and get a better tattoo.
There you go. There you go. Lefty will touch it up for you, make it all nice and pretty. And you'll show it off to whoever you want to show it off to, and they'll swoon.
Tattoos are nice like that, though. Like, they're pretty good. You should get one. Like, it really is.
They cost money, man. I'm trying to run this show.
Should I gift you my gift card?
No. No, that's against the rules.
It's against
it would
the
actually
rules.
be against the law because
It would be,
I
yeah.
paid for it, and then if I'm taking it back, that's embezzling.
It is.
So that would violate all kinds of issues.
It would. I'm going to want to use that, so.
Yeah, please do, and make sure that you tell them that you got it from my show and that
Yeah,
this marketing is working for him and all of that.
I will.
Because he's a fun guy. He's very funny, very scary looking because he's just big and grumpy. I don't know why I say that, but Lefty, you're a delightful person. I love you. You're fantastic.
Yeah, Lefty. I'm excited to meet you.
Yeah, you should definitely meet him. He's worked very hard to get where he is, and I respect the holy crap out
I
of him.
respect that too.
Yeah. All right. We should probably go so I can tear all this down and load the video.
Well, thank you very much.
No,
inviting
thank you
me.
for
No,
being a guest. I appreciate it, Mr. Leon.
This was nice.
This was a good time, and you're free to come back anytime you want.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Oh, wait, we got to do our moments of gratitude before we close this up. I forget about that. Have you watched an episode of this show before?
I haven't finished it.
All right. So at the end of every episode, we do a moment of gratitude to celebrate people that are alive that you may have not thanked for or been grateful to. You get to do one celebrity and one person in your real life.
That's a good question.
And see, like today, we heard about the passing of Scott Hall, which is, I mean, if anyone was a wrestling fan, Razor Ramon. I remember Razor Ramon. I remember Todd Brommelkamp was talking about this on KGYM a few weeks ago about how Shawn Michaels had one of the best heel turns in wrestling history. I would say that Hulk Hogan's heel turn with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash is probably the best one, because it was at an age where professional wrestling was already, people knew it was all rigged and whatever, right? Now, I'm not going to say fake because it wasn't fake, but like the outcomes are all predetermined and all that.
Yeah.
And so in a day with smart fans and when people were not as believing and whatever, when that happened, to see the garbage thrown into the ring and you see the cups and the programs and all of that, they got nuclear heat in a day and age where nuclear heat would be almost impossible to do it. I mean, I remember watching that going, did that just happen? Yeah.
Man, wrestling had moments where it was just.
And that was probably the biggest moment. Like,
I'm Attitude Era kid, so.
I mean, I was in Cedar Rapids. I was at the arena when Andre the Giant got arrested.
What?
Yeah, he punched a camera guy who was recording him when he wasn't supposed to be recording him. Yep.
I've never seen Andre.
Oh, I saw Andre 3 times.
You meet him?
Huh?
Have you met him?
No, I didn't get to meet him.
You're one away from him.
Sort of, yeah.
Princess Bride.
I also slapped hands with a convicted murderer. So Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Whoa. I haven't done that one.
Yeah, that one kind of threw me off guard too. When, like, I guess he wrote about it in a book that he killed his girlfriend, thinking that was gonna be okay.
No, murder's still not.
Murder's
okay.
not okay. There's no statute of limitations on murder.
Yeah, nope, can't murder.
Nope.
You hear that, Russia? No.
Russia, are you listening?
No, I think it's all gonna be okay over there.
What's your definition of okay? Because I mean, like, thousands of people have died. There's millions upon millions of dollars of destruction.
I hope no World War III. Okay, like I feel like hopefully cooler heads will prevail and things will.
They're
calm
supposed
down.
to meet today, or have already met today. I don't know.
Well, hopefully they have, and it's a good conversation because we don't like war.
No, war is bad.
It's always bad. But
All right, moments of gratitude.
Moments of gratitude. Do people usually do family members? I'm guessing.
Whoever they feel grateful for. I don't do that because I've already done all those people.
Yeah. I would say I'm pretty grateful for my dad. He's pretty great.
All right.
Like anything I ever want to learn, and just he's making sure like things are going to be good well after he's gone. So I think that's really nice. Like just with wisdom, it goes a long way. And I'm going to try to just be better because of that. So he's just a really nice, selfless guy.
Selfless guy.
And celebrity-wise, I've never heard that question before, but
Yeah, like someone who's inspired you to do better or something.
who was other people said? Because
I mean, I don't know who's touched your life. You could say you're grateful to LeBron, since you're such a lover.
I'm not that big of a LeBron lover. I like him all right. Who would I say? I don't want to waste air. no dead air here.
Oh, dead air happens all the time. People are, I mean, like the 4 people who are listening, they've probably tuned out a long time ago. It's fine.
Is this live?
No,
Oh,
I'm not that sophisticated.
so who would be a good person? Just grateful for it? Oh,
Yeah,
you're
like,
killing me.
why am I
You're
killing you?
killing me. This is a hard question.
I wouldn't have thought it'd been that hard.
It's pretty hard. Can I give a?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I would say seeing the Russian ballet was pretty nice, and I'm
Okay.
grateful for the Paramount and I guess the actual production that came. It's just nice to see something like that in Cedar Rapids. I
Nice.
didn't want to go to Chicago for that.
Very
so
cultural.
It was just nice to see it. Like, I wish everybody that I knew got to go out there and see it. It was a packed house. It was sold out. But like, next time they come, guys, you gotta go.
You gotta go to the Paramount, Cedar Rapids. Check out the Paramount's page. They have all kinds of crazy stuff that happens here in Cedar Rapids. It's fantastic.
It really is.
Yeah. So my celebrity today will be, have I said, I don't think I've ever said thank you to Steve Byrne. So Steve Byrne, I want to say I'm grateful for you. I'm thankful that you're in this world. You make me laugh. You're a delightful person. I want you to come do the podcast still. I want to do that show with you very badly. Do you know who Steve Byrne is?
No.
He's Korean and Irish, and he is a stand-up comedian. And his older stuff was kind of naughty and whatever, but as he's aged, his newer stuff is great. And he has a lot of interesting points that he makes through humor and comedy. So actually, I told him this too. Like, I met him in Milwaukee, and I said, by the way, I stole your guys' setup because him and Brian Callen did a podcast where they would do this exact setup. And I was like, ooh, I could totally, that's an easy way for me to do mine. So that's how I got my idea. So I totally stole it. He knows I did it. So I don't think it's still plagiarism because he gave me the okay.
You'll get that check in the mail.
Yeah, you'll get that check for $1. I haven't made a single penny doing this, so I don't know
Yet.
Hopefully that day comes where I can stop doing what I'm doing and focus on all my passions. Because I have a photography I'm doing and all kinds of things. Anyway, Steve Byrne, I love you and I appreciate you and you make me laugh. And please keep doing what you're doing. And I'm really glad you're a human being in this world. And my real life person to say thank you to is you. Without you, this show would not exist. So
Thank you. That's
I
very nice of
appreciate
you. Very
No,
nice.
I mean, it's true. If I don't have people to talk to, this thing doesn't happen. So,
Well, I'll spread the word.
all right.
I'm willing to come back whenever
Tell
you
all
need.
your people at that big box store that you work at that you were on this show and all that.
I will.
All
We
right.
got to work for the man.
Man, sometimes I wish the man would work for us for once. I need a vacation. I also need my fingers not to be so sausagey. They're getting really like big.
Hey,
I noticed that the
Basketball.
other day. I was like, oofed.
basketball.
I know. I need to start getting out there and playing. All right, we gotta go. Have a great one, guys. We'll
Have
see
a
ya.
nice
Much love to you, Ukraine. Hope you guys come out of that okay. See ya. Oofed. Oh, that hurt standing up. Holy buckets.